Hey tout le monde, c'est Parti Elite. Aujourd'hui, on va discuter Bretonnia. Mais of course, we're going to do it in English. Now, first things first, I want to say a massive thank you to Creative Assembly, of course, for being ever so generous, giving me the blessings of the lady, as it were, early access to Bretonnia so that I can take a look at it, experiment, play around, and ultimately share it with you. Now, unfortunately, my upcoming weekend is so messy that I just simply won't be able to live stream anytime soon, and so we wouldn't be able to do this sort of early look together. So, sort of to make up for that, I'm recording this session here today. This is my first exposure to Bretonnia. I just got the update, I'm sitting down with it, and I'm recording this as I experience Bretonnia for the first time together. So, we can still look at it, and I'll do a couple of unit tests and see things that we're all maybe curious about, talk about campaign mechanics, etc., etc. I will have links in the description below, timestamps, in the description below, so you can, skip to anything you'd like to see specifically, whether you want to skip campaign, just look at unit stats, or come back and refer to something. I'll try and make it as detailed as possible, and hopefully that will, be convenient for you guys. And just in case you don't remember, which I'd be very surprised if you didn't remember, but this is coming out on the 28th of February, and you can actually get access, I believe, a day early if you sign up through Total War Access. I'm going to try and find the link and put it in the description below as well. But enough of an introduction, let's dive right into it, because I am very excited. This might be the most hyped DLC for this game, honestly. And let's start with the menu. It's beautiful. All right, enough time spent there. This is gorgeous art, but I'm going to start by looking at the campaign options. I just want to look at not the skill trees or anything, but just the three options, who the lords are, what they start with, what they offer, and then we can, move on to the units, because I feel like that's going to be one of the most interesting things. So let's look at Bretonnia first. And while we're looking at this, keep in mind, I am going to look for suggestions as to what you'd like me to play, which campaign you'd like to see me do. So, Bretonnia is a feudal society protected by knights, considered the most powerful heavy cavalry in the old world. Its current king is... should maybe report that. Its current king is Louen Leoncoeur, a Grail knight considered by many to be the nation's greatest ruler since Gilles le Breton, the uniter of legend. Together they ride forth with lances dipped and prayers to the lady upon their lips. Chivalry, through their noble actions, the Bretonnian dukes will... Oh man, he looks so sick. Through noble actions, the Bretonnian dukes will benefit from powerful bonuses. Peasant economy, farm or fight. Peasants form Bretonnia's financial and military backbone. An equestrian-based unit roster with a host of fast-moving skirmish cavalry and heavily armored shock cavalry. Alright, we know some of this stuff already. Now, chivalry is going to be a really interesting mechanic. Peasant economy as well. I'm going to be getting into the mechanics later on after we look at the units, I think. So that's the overview for Bretonnia, and let's take a look at Louen Leoncoeur. All right, King of Bretonnia, of course, starts in Couronne, which is the capital. Powerful melee fighter, has the ability Lion's Shield. King Louen starts with all knightly vows unlocked. Knightly vows are extremely important. Again, we'll discuss those later. Campaign movement plus 10, aura size plus 25% for all lords when attacking. Awesome. He starts with the Pegasus Knights, the Field Trebuchet, and a unit of Grail Knights as well. And again, starts in Couronne. Now we've got, following that, Bordelot, chivalry. Oh wait. Stern, ultra-chivalrous Duke Alberic rules coastal Bordelot, a place of rolling hills and sweeping valleys, flanked by vineyards and farmsteads, famed for its sea trade, fine wines, and extremely well-drilled knightly class. Alberic is among the greatest knights Bretonnia has ever known, often fighting alongside King Louen to smite evil in the lady's name. So again, we've got chivalry, peasant economy, and the equestrian-based roster, of course. That is a sick helmet. Points for that helmet. That is a sick helmet. Anyway, so these guys, naturally, with Alberic de Bordelot in charge, start in Bordelot, and he is the Duke of Bordelot. How many times can I say that word in a sentence? Powerful melee fighter as well. Has powerful battle ability, Wrath of Manan. Manan? Someone please correct me. We've got, let's see, he starts with the Knight's Vow unlocked, so not all of the vows. Income from trade is plus 5% with from tariffs, and plus 2 experience for Bretonnian Knight recruits. for all characters. Okay, interesting. He does start with Foot Squires, Knights of the Realm, and Knights Errant, and we'll, of course, we'll look at those units in more detail just shortly. And then finally, we have Carcassonne. From her tower in Carcassonne, the Fey Enchantress watches over Bretonnia. As the living representative of the Lady of the Lake, her actions are guided by the goddess's will. It is the Enchantress who rouses the dukes to the kingdom's defense and rides with them into battle, her magic protecting the knights and smiting the foe, on occasion slaying with a single furious glance. She's dagger eyes. So Chivalry, Peasant Economy, and the same unit structure. Oh, I love that. Okay, let's take a look. So that is... What do I seek? The Fey Enchantress. Oh, that's a nice shot. All right. So she starts in Carcassonne, Supreme Enchantress, Master of the Lore of Life, right, new magic for Bretonnia. Powerful ability, Mist of the Lady, okay. Image of the Lady, +5 peasants available to the faction, that can be crucial. Upkeep greatly reduced for Grail Guardians, makes sense, lore-wise. Casualty, replenishment rate increased as well. And let's see, she starts with some Battle Pilgrims, Grail Guardians, and the Blessed Field Trebuchet. Insert trebuchet puns here. Now, you'll notice these guys were all normal for initial challenge, so that's cool. And they have some really interesting campaign mechanics that, again, I'll be covering shortly. Let me know in the comments below which faction you'd like to see, and maybe I'll have a little poll at the top right corner here. If you click on the eye, I'll have a little sort of question, a poll that asks which of these three you guys would like to see. I'm wondering if I want to do Carcassonne only because the Fey Enchantress sounds cool, but I'm open to anything, really. Alright, enough of the campaigns. We're going to look at the units. So let's see, Custom Battle, of course. And right, I do, of course, have access to the von Karsteins as well, so you know what? Let's just really quickly here, step back here, new campaign, old world, and just look at von Karstein. I can't actually start. I don't have access to Isabella yet, but let's just look at their campaign information. So a strong, powerful couple, Vlad and Isabella von Karstein, are heirs to the throne of Sylvania. The latter stands proudly by her husband's side as he attempts to seize Castle Drakenhof from Manfred's grasp, nourishing Vlad's lust for power and dominion over the Empire and beyond. Man, she looks like such a badass. Beloved in death, Vlad and Isabella have improved battle prowess when reinforcing one another. Raise dead, of course. New units can be raised from among the dead. Famous battle sites improve the quality and quantity of the troops available. Varied unit roster, blah, blah, blah. Flying, etc. Pretty similar overall. And a hard initial challenge. So, Vlad himself, powerful leader, melee fighter, lore of vampires, siege attacker. We've got unique building in Castle Drakenhof, Undying Love, +15 to melee attack, melee defense when Vlad and Isabella are reinforcing each other, okay? And campaign movement is +5%, Bats, Blood Knights, and Vargeists. Now, Isabella, the Queen of Darkness, self-proclaimed, will have, or is the heir of the Mad Count, of course, a powerful spellcaster, master of the lore of vampires. Also a unique building in Castle Drakenhof, Undying Love, same bonus to melee attack and defense when they're fighting together, of course, +25% weapon damage for all vampire heroes, and +3 cap to vampire heroes, so that's cool, starting with 2 units of Crypt Ghouls and a unit of Black Knights. So, that is the family von Karstein. I kind of wish I'd waited to start my Vampire Count Let's Play until those guys were available, but too late. Now, custom battles, and let's start looking at our units. So, of course, we have, you can fly the von Karstein flag now, which I might start doing exclusively. The Vampire Counts have access to some other lords, so I don't know, we'll see about that. But Bordelot, Bretonnia, and Carcassonne. We have all 3 of these flags available to us, and my assumption is... Okay, so this has... I'm going to guess that Bretonnia has all of them. Bordelot has only Alberic, and Carcassonne has only the Fey Enchantress. Yeah, so that looks like the only variable. There might be some more. I highly doubt it. Doesn't look like it. Maybe some prices change. When I'm doing my Magic guides, I will look at price changes and stuff in Magic, but For this overview, we're going to look at Bretonnia as the roster, and what I'm going to do is I will cover the lords in this screen just so we can get their items and abilities all looked at, and the heroes as well. And then when it comes to the units, like we did with the Wood Elves, we're going to dive into the battlefield. And in fact, since I'm sort of pre-recording this, I might actually cut out loading screens and stuff so you don't have to wait, unless it's beautiful loading art, in which case I'll keep it in. All right, enough jibber jabber. Lord. So Barded Warhorse, Royal Pegasus, and Hippogriff. I'm going to try and treat this like we've never seen Bretonnia before, just so we can cover everything as if it's brand new, possibly. Let's see, we've got your standard abilities for your generic lord and items. You've got your standard items. They do have the Potion of Toughness. So pretty standard overall. Again, I think we're all really used to taking Leoncoeur into battle. And for obvious reasons, he's got better leadership, better weapon strength, better melee defense, and attack. But the Lord isn't, poor off. You've got the encourageability as well. You've got missile resistance a little bit, so, Lord is what the Lord is. Now, we've got the prophetesses of beasts, life, and heavens. So, prophetesses are lords, but damsels are heroes. So, we've got the prophetess of beasts, and we can put them on the Warhorse, a Barded Warhorse, or a Royal Pegasus. Now, you definitely don't want to get these guys stuck in on a fight. Their melee defense isn't the worst. It's not an atrocity. Trying to find a comparison point. They're better than peasant mobs, so there's that. Oh, peasant mobs brings back good memories of, like, medieval Total War and stuff. But yeah, you don't want them to get caught up in a fight. They'll manage, but you'll want to pull them out. Now, let's see. Abilities. We've got Aura of the Lady, plus 12% magic resistance, to everybody 30 meters around oneself. We've got Wild Heart, of course, Arcane Conduit, sort of everything else is sort of your standards that you can expect from the lore of beasts, as well as a magic caster. Now spells, we've got the lore of beasts kind of standard. Again, I'll be comparing price points when I get to the lore of beasts in my magic guide. And items, we've got your standard, the leeching, the shielding, and of course, power. Unlimited power. Now, everything else seems pretty standard. Can hide in forests. We've got encourage, missile resistance. All right. And my assumption is everyone is pretty much the same, just changing associated to their magic. They've got the same mounts, abilities. Of course, the magic changes. Life Bloom for the lore of life. Same set of spells, lore of life. We've got hide in forest, encourage, missile resistance, and the same items. And I'm guessing the same thing here with the lore of heavens. See, same mounts. Yep. Looks like that's all the same. Now the question is, will we be seeing prophetesses in battle? What is the likelihood? Because it's cheaper than a melee heavy lord. I don't know. I'd be surprised if we see too many of them used in battle, because again, they die off pretty easily. You'd have to be very careful about protecting them. The advantages of having someone like Leoncoeur. Well, we'll compare. Let's take a look at Alberic first, and let's see. So Alberic, all right. So 3 sets of mounts. We've got your Barded Warhorse, the Royal Pegasus, and the Hippogriff. We've got, let's see, Spirit of the Tempest. So it's an area augment, constant. Okay, affects everyone in 40 meters, giving a plus 8% charge bonus and plus 10% speed. That can be pretty big. 8 and 10%. That can be pretty massive for a cavalry centric army. We've got Foe Seeker, of course. What is this? Rally. Instantly affect targets in area. 10 seconds, plus 16 leadership. Excellent. Help fight against those terror bombs and whatnot. And we've got Deadly Onslaught and Heroic Killing Blow. Alright. Pretty cool. Getting very historical Total War vibes with some of these abilities and things. Now let's see, in terms of items, we have the Wrath of Manaan. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, guys. The Wrath of Manaan, which is a wind-type spell. Okay, lasts 5 seconds. 60-meter range. Magical damage. Large area of effect. Disrupting unit formations. Everything we can expect from a wind spell. And it... Okay, it gives Discourage, so negative 16 to leadership. That could be pretty good, but a cost of 206? I don't know. I don't know how powerful that'll end up being on the battlefield. Definitely something to test out. And in terms of their sort of, or his, I guess, stats and traits here. We've got missile resistance, encourage, and hiding in forests. Now, he is anti-large, so that will be helpful. How much is that bonus versus large? 30 bonus versus large, 140 armor piercing damage, and 290 weapon damage. That's solid. 54 melee attack, and a decent melee defense as well. And let's see what happens on his mounts. More speed, more charge bonus. That's all standard. Less armor. On the Royal Pegasus, more health, less armor, much more speed, and a significantly improved charge bonus. And then on the Hippogriff, a lot more health, less armor. So constant armor between the mounted variants. A lot more speed as well, less than the Royal Pegasus though. Reduced melee attack. Interesting. Huh. Reduced melee attack, I guess, to make up for the mobility, but you do have a heftily increased charge bonus. So, interesting sort of payoffs there. And overall, yeah, I mean, he looks like a decent fighter. Anti-large is going to be nice. I really want to test these anti-large units and how they fare against, for example, Blood Knights and whatnot. That'll be interesting. But for now, we're going to move on to the Fey Enchantress. All right. So Spellcaster, of course. The only mount we have is Silveron. Proud and noble unicorn elevates the Enchantress above her host, so all may see and be strengthened by her blessed presence. Sounds sick. What does it do, though? We get more health, much more speed. Of course, it's a horse. Slightly reduced melee defense, and a much better charge bonus. But you wouldn't really want to be sending her into combat. That melee defense is reduced quite a bit, right down to 30, so that would be very, very risky. But that's good for, giving her some ability to ride around, and if she gets caught out, then she'll be able to defend herself. Now, abilities, or to run away, rather. We've got the Aura of the Lady, so plus 12% magic resistance. We've got Life Bloom, as we know from the Lore of Life. We've got Mist of the Lady. So that gives -8 melee attack and causes damage to enemy combatants within 30 meters of herself. As long as, just always? Yeah, huh. Constantly, yeah. That's pretty good. That's solid. That's solid. Okay, interesting. And then we've got Arcane Conduit, of course, and Favor of the Fae. It's an augment for 44 seconds, giving plus 58 melee attack. That's amazing. Yeah, so I guess you'd want to put her on the mount so she can be moving around and causing this, Mist of the Lady and Favor of the Fae buff/debuff combination at various parts. So that'll be interesting to see. I feel like we might start seeing Fey Enchantress, but, it's possible that with more testing we find out that Leoncoeur is the only way to go after all or something, but it could lead to some interesting play. And when it comes to spells, we have the Lore of Life here. I was sort of expecting it would be a mix-up of different lores, just because we've seen that in some other characters, but it looks like it's just the Lore of Life, and of course we'll be comparing costs and stuff later. And in terms of items, we have the Chalice of Potions, the Cup of Potions. It's a bombardment spell, okay, 7 seconds, magical damage. 158 isn't that expensive, but you know how I feel about bombardment spells. No idea how useful this will actually be. Now, I feel like I missed some stuff here. No, okay, just not listed anywhere here. Okay, so Spellcaster, again, very low on armor, leadership is decent, low speed until you're on a horse, of course, melee attack, melee defense. When she's on foot, her melee defense is okay. Like, she could survive for long enough for backup to arrive, but her armor is really low, so you'd have to be fast about getting her backup. Weapon strength is okay, 100 of that is armor piercing, and charge bonus, of course, on foot. What can you expect? Missile resistance 15%, magic resistance 20%, causes fear, has encourage, hiding in forests, of course, the Blessing of the Lady, as you would probably expect the Enchantress to have, ward save, constant 20% physical resistance. We've got, the Aura, then we've got Life Bloom, and everything else we have covered down here. All right, excellent. Fey Enchantress done. And next up, Louen Leoncoeur, our mighty king. Now we have, let's see, how do we start this? Right. So, our options are Barded Warhorse, of course, the Royal Pegasus, the Hippogriff, and Beaquis? My French is gone. I just had enough for that starting introduction. So, a lot of the stuff we're already used to and expecting. Abilities, we've got Ladies Champion, you know, replenishing hit points of combatants, combatant being himself. I wish that was worded a little differently when it's just targeting oneself. Then we have the Beloved Son of Bretonia, area augment, constant, affecting everyone on the map. Again, map-wide effect range, affects allies in range, just funny combination of words. +8 melee attack, plus 12% weapon damage, immune to psychology, and 8% charge bonus. So that is solid, as long as leadership is obviously not higher than 50%. Alright, Foe Seeker, Deadly Onslaught, Stand Your Ground, and the Lion's Shield. Unless I'm losing my mind, that's definitely new. Giving plus 44% missile and magic resistance for 22 seconds. It's a 90-second cooldown, though, so you just need to make sure when you're using it, you need to use it. And that'll be interesting, because when you're in the air and you're approaching a bunch of, you know, let's say raider, like Ungor raiders or something, you could use that to keep yourself safe. Now, items, of course, we have the Sword of Guron, and that does -30 armor, -36 melee defense. A great little ability for just 209 points. I think that's a worthwhile purchase almost always. And of course, we have Fear and Terror when he's flying on his on Beaquis? Why am I having so much trouble with the name? But yeah, so there's Terror there, Terror and Fear with the Hippogriff, and that is that. And I think we've covered everything else here. Yeah, and of course, stats-wise, he is quite the fighter. Let's compare him to, well, Albric, I would say. Alright, so Leon Coeur has more health, better leadership, makes sense, better melee attack, better melee defense, better weapon strength, reduced charge bonus. And Albric is anti-large. But Leon Coeur on his flying horsey here is armor piercing. How much is that armor piercing again? 290. Interesting that the balance between them, they're not too far off statistically speaking, but then you've got things like, obviously, you know, Ladies Champion and Lion's Shield, stuff like that does come into play, so that'll be interesting to see how much action these guys get on the field. Alright, and obviously as I start to do my detailed sort of faction overviews and whatnot, I will be sort of making those calls right now. Again, first impressions, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. I hate conclusion jumping. But that is it for the Lords. We're now going to look at the heroes real quick, and then we're going to dive into the battlefield with a bunch of the units, look at their stats, take a look at what some of these new guys look like on the field as well. And yeah, so heroes time. We're going to start off with the Paladin. Someone we are very familiar with, of course, can be mounted on the Barded Warhorse and the Royal Pegasus. For the Goon Squad, we've got Foe Seeker and, of course, Deadly Onslaught. Items, standard items, no Potion of Toughness, of course, and we do have Encourage and Missile Resistance 15%. Encourage, very valuable when you've got a bunch of peasants fighting for you. And, of course, in terms of their overall capabilities, we're sort of familiar with how these stats go. Very good fighters. You want to have them flying in, diving in, providing morale support to your sort of lacking units, as it were, ones who aren't so confident. And you want to just sort of trash the enemy lords and heroes and whatnot. So standard to take your paladins, of course. I think that'll stay standard. I wouldn't be surprised if oh, interesting. I would be surprised if that changes. And we've got our damsels now of beasts, life, and heavens. And that's sort of why I'm wondering if we'll be seeing the prophetesses too much. 1352, I mean, it'll be interesting. I'm curious because of how sorcerers have been as lords so far. There has been precedence, but in some cases, and we all know who I'm talking about, in some cases, taking your magic caster as your lord is wasteful. So we're going to look at the damsels. Now we've got the damsel of beasts, life, and heavens, and I suspect they're all sort of standard for magic casters. Certainly looks like it. Their stats are the same across the board, and we just have, yeah, the spells changing, of course, depending on the lore. That's all standard. Nothing too unique going on with these guys. Okay, so not too much to discuss there. Obviously, as with all spellcasters, you want to make sure they are away from combat. A melee defense of 22 is not pleasant at all. And it looks like no matter what they are on, the only stats that change are health, armor, speed, and charge bonus, and they have unicorns, so that's cool. They do also get magic resistance when they are on the unicorn, so that is neat. But yeah, so standard affair there. And the Green Knight. I know we're all very excited for the Green Knight. We can only get the one, which is nice to see limits like that being set in by the developer. And hey, we have another new icon. Fantastic. Melee Specialist. Could have just, been a sword or something, but okay. Melee Expert, Ethereal, causes terror. Excellent. Let's see. So no mounts or anything like that. Of course, like nothing adjustable overall, just the abilities. We've got Sacred Guardian, so replenishes hit points of combatants, just himself, as long as he's in the woods. Disabled if unit is not in forest. So if the unit is in a forest, he will replenish his hit points. Interesting. Very interesting. Then we have the Dolorous Blade, an augment of 57 seconds, with 135 second cooldown. That's insane, but plus 34 to melee attack and plus 44% to weapon damage. That's massive. Plus 34 melee attack is 88, and plus 44% weapon damage is, let's see, that's like 600 and something, I'm going to say, roughly. That's massive. Now, of this weapon damage, 290 is regular and 140 is armor piercing, so pretty good in terms of armor piercing damage. Armor is pretty low, but again, he is ethereal, so that sort of balances out. Leadership is at 100. He is unbreakable, though, so that's sort of irrelevant, I guess. Speed of 84, pretty fast. Melee attack of 54, melee defense of 48. How does he stack up to, let's say, some of the knights, maybe? Or how does he stack up to the paladin? Okay. He stacks up. I mean, the unbreakable makes a huge difference, obviously, and then the terror and fear. I wonder if terror bombing is going to become possible with Bretonnia at this point. I mean, we've already got, of course, Leoncoeur on his mount. We've seen that stuff before. But with the added factor of, like, the Green Knight in there and stuff like that, I'd be pretty interested to see. All right, so that's the Green Knight, and we will be getting him on the battlefield alongside, well, let's get the Fey Enchantress and the Green Knight on the battlefield. And we're just going to stock up on a bunch of units, and we're going to go to the battlefield, and I think I'll actually cut, so you don't have to wait and sit in a loading screen, again, unless it's a beautiful loading screen. I'll cut this, and we'll just dive onto the battlefield and see these units in all their glory, look at their stats. Let's try and get as many of them as we can, of course. We're going to have to change our settings. All right, well, I'm going to, cut here, obviously, and we'll take a look at the units. I completely forgot that the loading screens into battles look, pretty minimalist, so they don't look anything too special. I like the pattern that goes behind the unit cards and whatnot, but apart from that, they're not very special. Anyways, we are here on the lovely battlefield of Aucun-Emer, I believe is how we'll pronounce it. And I've got all the units. We're just going to get them lined up. The defender on the other side is the Empire, the mighty forces of the Empire, but I'm not too worried about them. We have everything that belongs to Bretonnia in terms of their military forces over here. We'll be taking a look at, of course, their various abilities and whatnot. So first things first, I guess I don't really have to start the battle. Well, I don't want this massive ugly thing up here. So we're going to start the battle. We're going to go it in slow-mo and hope that our enemy here isn't able to destroy us. And we're going to start at this end. So first things first, we've got the Trebuchet. Whoa. Slow our camera down here a little bit. So we've got the Trebuchet, Field Trebuchet, and let's see, so armor-piercing missile, 15 armor, leadership of 48. That's boosted. Yeah, leadership of 40. Thought so. They're not supposed to be fast or anything. I mean, these guys are Field Trebuchet. They are exactly what we can expect them to be. Stop shooting, please and thank you. So yeah, they're everything we can expect them to be. Nothing too special, but let's compare them with the Blessed Field Trebuchet that are supposedly throwing holy water, I think. Ooh, are they... I want to see if their ammo looks different. I know this looks different, but they look the same otherwise, so I want to see if their ammo looks different. Anyway, so the Blessed Field Trebuchet, if I could just... There we go. Let's see. So, again, they are your standard trebuchet with a little bit more missile damage, more ammo, less melee defense. Hopefully that never becomes a factor. And of course their ammunition does do magical damage. They also, oh, they're under the influence of the aura of the lady. Are we? Oh, right, we're not shooting. Shoot. Take a shot off. Come on. There we go. I just want to see what the shot looks like. Whoa. Oh yeah, it's a little ice cube, I guess. Oh, and little water splashes. Cool. Alright, that's neat. That's neat. Fair enough. Stop firing. And so those are the trebuchet. They're exactly what you'd expect trebuchet to be. Capable of, firing projectiles, etc., etc. On we go. She looks beautiful. To the Fey Enchantress. That is awesome. I love seeing the floaty flying animations. Yeah. Looks pretty good. Alright, Fey Enchantress. We've already seen her stats and all, so this is more of a beauty shot than anything else. Beauty shot. So let's make it a proper beauty shot. Whoop. Come on. Show me your face. There we go. Yeah, she looks awesome. I love seeing these characters built out. I just can't. She keeps... Why? Why are you doing this to me? There we go. Come on. Doesn't want me seeing her. Alright. So she looks sick. So that's nice. Very curious to see how much use she's going to get on the battlefield. And then here we have the man, the myth, the legend, looking sick as all hell. Man, that's looking great. I'm sure we're gonna see a lot of him on the battlefield. He is simply, statistically speaking, I think he's gonna get a lot of action on the battlefield. Because let's see again, the Green Knight, he's unbreakable, so that's massively helpful, of course. The Dolores Blade, again, that boost to melee attack and weapon damage is going to be massive. I'm sure we'll see a lot of him on the battlefield. But we've seen their stats already. Let's move on. So this is the Peasant Mob. If you didn't think it could get lower than Peasants, it just did. So this is the Peasant Mob, and let's see. Poor leadership, obviously expendable. That is the perfect word to use, I would say. No armor, practically. Very low leadership, I assume. Yeah, 36. So these guys will shatter like that. Slow, like middling speed. They're not really... These guys are really grunt troops. They're really, really grunt troops. 160 of them, so... How wide can they spread? I guess they could... I mean, they wouldn't act as good... Alright, I'm not deploying. They wouldn't act as good anvils or anything, because they're pretty slow. Or they're not slow, but their defense is so low, and their armor is negligible. They would shatter and break. I don't know. Curious how much of them we'll actually see. They're probably just a campaign unit more than anything else. Enough about them. So the men-at-arms are actually sword infantry, also expendable. Hey, Gelt has actually made it over. So the men-at-arms are expendable, sword infantry, poor leadership as well. Not so poor. Not so poor at all. 50 is not terrible. Armor of 30, speed of 31, melee attack, melee defense, again, very middling. They're not going to last a very long time. Cheap, sort of fodder units again, and next to no sort of charge bonus. That weapon strength as well. Let's just take a quick look. 5 of that is armor piercing. And what about the Peasant Mob? 3 of that is armor piercing, yeah. So it's sort of not going to see too much of that, I don't think. Yo, Gelt, don't make me have to restart this battle. Next up, the Spearmen at Arms. These guys, anti-large, charge defense against large foes only. So that's a change, because they used to have charge defense against all units. So that's certainly been changed. Expendable, poor leadership. I guess we're calling 50 poor leadership now. Armor of 30, so again, nothing too impressive. The leadership of 50, speed of 31, 18, 30, 22, and 4. So again, they can hold the line. These guys are your anvils for your cavalry hammers. So they can hold the line. They're anti-large, and yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll still see plenty of them on the battlefield. And of course, we have the men-at-arms with shields, and these guys have, of course, shields. Silver shield, so some good blocking of ranged fire. We've got leadership, I'm guessing, is at 50 as well. Yep. Speed of 31, 27, 34, 26, and 10. So again, able to hold the line. They will be the word I'm looking for. They will be your anvil. And yeah, so men-at-arms with shields, they are sword infantry. These are not men-at-arms with pole arms. Do not mix them up. Like I think I was doing temporarily there. But so yeah, they will be they're okay. Melee attack of 27, melee defense of 34. Not the best fighters, of course, but again, Bretonnian infantry, that's not their strength whatsoever. Now, over here, we have the Spearmen at Arms with shields. These are guys we're familiar with. So, Spearmen at Arms with shields, if we compare them to the regular Spearmen at Arms, ooh, we have some pretty nice unit art. They are, let's see, charge defense against large, shielded, anti-large, of course. They have their silver shields. Overall, their melee attack and defense is better, but their leadership is a little bit lower. Or is that just because of range? No, their leadership is the same at 50. And yeah, again, sort of your standard spear unit with shields. This is annoying. He still hasn't killed them though, so there's that. So yeah, okay. I'm excited to look at the new units. I'll be 100% frank. And I've got the men at arms with pole arms, armor piercing, anti-large, and charge defense against large foes. Again, I'm pretty sure that that used to be against all. My excitement is blurring my memory, but these guys are now just against large. And let's see, we've got 30 armor, leadership of 56, which is solid, especially for a Bretonnian peasant. 31 speed, 2240. Melee defense is pretty solid there. They won't be killing much, but they will be holding their line. They are anti-large and armor piercing, of course. Armor piercing damage at 17, bonus to large at 15. Obviously negligible charge bonus. And now here we have the battle pilgrims. These guys are looking sick in their rags. Alright, sword infantry, shielded, and they have frenzy. Okay, that's interesting. So their armor, they do have bronze shields here, so not as much of a protection, but that's still going to be pretty helpful. Are they? That is upside down, right? Or is that right side up? Is that an inside joke? Is that a joke that I'm missing out on? Somebody let me know. But with that said, let's see. So their armor is 30, so they're not the most heavily armored, but they do have their shields, so that'll protect them as they're running in. And we've got a leadership of 80, so that's solid. That's a solid, pretty high leadership. I guess you can expect that from Pilgrims. Speed of 31, 40 for melee attack. What is affecting that? Frenzy, I'm guessing, right? Yes. So 32 when Frenzy is dead. So you want to keep their leadership high, which means above, let's see, 50% of 80, so above 40. So you want to keep their leadership high so they are getting a decent melee attack. Melee defense is okay. They're not going to last too long if they get hit by a heavy-duty unit, but I guess they'll do well against enemy spearmen and all. We'll do some unit tests. They will have their place in battle, I want to say, because their melee attack is pretty good. Their defense is low, but with Frenzy, they'll probably have their place. Plus, they're immune to psychology, which is solid. No one else so far has been. So these guys, if you're expecting, a terror bomb, terrorgeists, shaggoths, whatever it might be, probably a good idea just because they are immune to psychology and they have decent, stats. The weapon strength as well, how much of that is armor piercing? Just 5, so nothing too special there. And an alright charge bonus as well to go with it. Now, we're going to move over here. Unfortunately, Gelt has been beating on my Grail Reliquae. So I guess we'll get to see them in action as this happens. Okay, I need a beauty shot of this guy as well, because, this is just hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. This guy playing around with the horse's head, little bell at the top there. Bell, Gelt. This is amazing. Really well done. Absolutely beautiful. It's got a tail as well. We've got the giant bell at the bottom. All right, enough admiring, because technically I'm admiring peasants. Technically. All right. Whoa. Zooming out there. There we go. So, Grail Reliquae is a support infantry. Gelt, get out of my way. Thank you. Support infantry, another new icon. Thank you very much. Frenzy and Magical Aura. We've seen that before. Let's see if this one is of any use. We've got 40 armor. All right. Leadership is what by base? 85. That's solid. Speed of 30, not too fast. Melee attack of 32, melee defense of 28. Okay, so you really will probably want to keep this guy in the back lines, only engaging here and there. Weapon strength of 49, that's being boosted by stats here, of course. Yeah, immune to psychology as well. So that leadership is going to be very important here. But yeah, so weapon strength is being boosted. 15 armor piercing. Okay, and charge bonus of 28. That's kind of funny. I want to see what these guys look like on the charge. But again, when we're not hovering over Gelt, thank you. Physical resistance of 20%, missile resistance of 15%, magic resistance of 25%, so that's pretty good. Can hide in force, immune to psychology, again, that's solid. Blessings of the Lady, plus 20% physical resistance. And then we've got Frenzy, of course, and what is this? Icon of Devotion. Area augment, it is constant and gives plus 16 leadership and immunity to psychology to everything within 40 meters. That is, that's pretty solid. Immunity to psychology. That can make a huge difference to some of these low leadership infantry troops. And again, yeah, you don't want this guy in a fight, more or less, because the stats aren't really there for it. But if he's behind the lines and able to provide some support to a bunch of peasant bowmen, as well as some of these like foot squires and whatnot, well, that would be pretty interesting. I wonder what's going on here. All right, let's just speed this up a little bit. Just need to check what the deal is here. All right. Okay. So that was actually changing things here. All right. Getaway. Interesting. So these guys are a little different than what we initially saw. So the Battle Pilgrims have immunity to psychology and frenzy and whatnot. The Foot Squires don't have any of that nonsense. They've got... All right. So thankfully we didn't really give these guys a look, but they were getting the benefit, that immunity to psychology. So it's a good thing we didn't look at them yet. So these guys, awesome as they look, are armor-piercing anti-infantry, excellent, and damage dealers. All right, so armor of 70, leadership of 70, good numbers there. It would take sort of great swords, etc., to take them down. We've got a speed of 28, melee attack of 25, and melee defense of 20. Ooh, those are low stats. However, their weapon strength is 35. 26 of that is armor-piercing, and 8 bonus versus infantry. So interesting, and their shields are on their back, so they're not getting any shielding benefits or anything, but that melee attack and melee defense is really low, 25 and 20. 25 and 20. I'm just going to compare that a little bit to some, like the men-at-arms, for example. They have a decent melee defense at least. Interesting. So basically, if you get them into a fight against non-armor-piercing units, they should be fine. But if they're stuck in combat against armor-piercing units, they're going to have a rough time. Interesting. That's a very low melee defense for what I thought would have, well, a decent melee defense, actually. Now, onwards we go. Enough of them. All right, if there was a quick little cut there, that's just because we just won the battle and I had to restart it. So we're back here now. We're going to look at the Peasant Bowmen. The Peasant Bowmen, again, where I guess we're used to them, good range with 160. They've got poor accuracy, poor leadership, very low armor. Leadership is, 36, right? Low speed, etc. Everything we're sort of used to. They're not going to be charging into anything, hopefully, in your battles. And they now have some brethren. They have the Peasant Bowmen with fire arrows. And so these guys actually have a higher missile damage, and of course their ammo now causes fire damage. So with flaming attacks, obviously that includes all the benefits of flaming attacks. So you might see these guys in action, for example, when you're up against the Wood Elves or Argolon, when they have a lot of treekin, Durthu, tree units made of wood, or when you're battling armies with a lot of regenerative capabilities, etc. So they will see a fair bit of use, I think, and the only difference between them and the regular Peasant Bowmen is missile damage is increased, and they get flaming attacks. That looks like it. Now, let's see. Armor-piercing damage is 1, and here armor-piercing damage is 3. Okay, so something to keep in mind. They do sacrifice I guess a lot of their, relatively speaking, armor-piercing damage. Now, the Peasant Bowmen with pox arrows, they have the same missile damage as the Peasant Bowmen, same armor-piercing as well. Their big benefit, apart from having a disgusting sort of implication... Oh, do they have... No, okay. I thought they'd have more hideous faces, even by Bretonnia standard. But again, so their big benefit is that poison damage. Poison is absolutely huge. Slow the enemy down and reduce their capability significantly. So I feel like you're going to see... I mean, you're probably going to see Peasant Bowmen with Pox Arrows relatively often, considering they have the same overall stats as the Peasant Bowmen. We'll compare their costs a little bit later. But yeah, that's... pretty solid. And then of course there's the fire as well, so you'll see a combination of fire and poison. I think I think we'll see quite a bit of that actually. Now we've got the mounted yeomen up next. Again, nothing we're not used to. Shielded, very fast, and vanguard deployment. Their shields are bronze, so again that means it's a 30% blocking of fire. Leadership is all right. It's at 48. Decent, well, quite good in terms of speed. They're pretty fast, but the melee attack and melee defense are very low. So again, they're not really the sort of representative of Bretonnian cavalry here. They are the lowest point, of course, as just mounted yeomen, and their charge bonus again also very kind of low. And they do have, of course, vanguard deployment, so that's solid. And none of these guys have vanguard deployment or anything. So the first unit, it looks like, that we've looked at that has vanguard deployment is are the mounted yeomen. Onwards from them, though, we have the Knights Errant. And let's take a look at these models, because these guys are new. Do any of them have their helms down? Yeah, they do. Oh, man, that looks sick as hell. All right, let's get a little beauty shot of these boys. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Loving the shields as well. Loving the horses, too. These guys look amazing. Hopefully they fight as well as they look. Oh, is that horsey looking at me? Hey, horsey. It still creeps me out every once in a while when I catch a beast looking at me. Still throws me off when I'm trying to catch one of those like nice shots. Anyway, so the Knights Errant, armored and shielded anti-infantry. Their armor is solid. That's 75. That's pretty solid. Leadership, what is it as base? It is a base of 60. Okay, that's good. Speed of 75, so they are pretty fast. Melee attack and melee defense are pretty low. But the charge bonus of 45 will be beneficial. So again, I take it they are get in, get out. Keep cycling these guys. They are shock cavalry, so make sure they do not get stuck in. A melee defense of 22, they will be taken out very easily. Of course, you can leave them in, and they might cause a decent amount of damage, but you'll want to cycle them in and out if you want to command them effectively. Now, their weapon damage is 21 regular and 9 armor piercing, so not really armor piercing or anything. But when they get into lance formation or wedge formation, let's see if we can see that happen. Yeah. Oh, Gelt's getting in again. Alright, so as that's happening, the difference this makes, let's see, plus 50% acceleration, plus 50% deceleration. Okay, so they can get to their destination faster, and they can stop and turn on a dime. Plus 24% charge speed, which is great for adding to impact damage. And plus 36% charge bonus. Okay, so that's pretty massive. It does reduce their overall speed, though. Interesting, okay. And it does also significantly reduce their parrying capabilities. Now, how does that make sense? Well, I guess it's just video game logic there. But, so that's pretty solid. That did change their stats a fair bit. The charge bonus is huge, and changing their acceleration and deceleration is going to make a pretty big difference. So that's neat, and it's nice to see the wedge in the game finally. It's we've been asking for it for a very long time. And I guess it just makes sense that the cavalry-heavy army of Bretonnia is the first place where we get to see it. So there you have it. There's our wedge in action. Seems to have some decent buffs. I wonder, that'll probably get some tweaks. I'm very curious about how that balances out. And it's funny. You'll have to be very careful. If you are not microing them, if you're not sending them in on a charge, you'll want to keep them out of lance so that they don't get shot down, especially if your enemy has ranged units. Anyways, onwards we go, and these boys are Knights of the Realm, and they have been tweaked a little bit, still looking gorgeous as always. Oh, little piggy. So the Knights of the Realm, shock cavalry, armored and shielded, anti-large. That's a big deal, and I definitely want to test these guys against like Blood Knights and stuff. They also have lance formation, or wedge formation. So those are some big changes. The reduction in missile parry, okay, fair enough. But the charge speed bonus, or the charge bonus increase and the charge speed increase are going to be massive because the charge bonus is already at 68. So that'll be interesting. Their leadership is solid, of course. Good speed. Melee attack, melee defense, melee defense not so high. They are shock cavalry, though. Melee attack's decent, but with the charge bonus, especially with the charge bonus increased, this weapon strength is going to be pretty great. Bonus versus large is 10, all right. 9 is armor piercing. All right, interesting. I'm very curious to get those tests started. I want to see how these guys perform against Blood Knights and Demigryph Knights with halberds, as Gelt gets thrown back by my questing knights on a quest to kill Gelt. These guys are also new with their glorious mustaches. All right. What's going on here? Is he on the run? Can we get a nice shot of you guys? All right. Make sure they're in guard mode. Okay. Come here. Oh man, look at this guy's face. That must just be blood. Look at the detail on these models. That looks amazing. How do you stop those drawers from falling out, man? Extra sword and shield. Alright, let me get some beard shots. These guys seem to have some pretty sick facial hair. Oh yeah, look at that guy. Oh, la oui oui. That guy's on a quest. Alright, okay, enough of that. Okay. Questing Knights, armored, armor piercing, and anti-infantry. Armor of 80, solid. We're going to have to start this again, but I want to deal with the Questing Knights first. So armor of 80 is solid. Okay, their leadership is 75 base. Okay. Sweet deal. Speed of 75. That's great. Melee attack and melee defense, those are decent stats. Now you can actually use them as regular cavalry. They can be engaged in combat for a little while longer, and you don't have to worry too much about... you still have to worry about them being killed off, especially by anti-large units. But with a melee defense of 36, they stand a better chance in melee combat. 46 weapon strength, armor piercing is 34. That is magnificent. So that's going to make a huge difference. And curious to see how they act as sort of a hammer to the anvil that we'll be seeing soon, based on what we've been shown already by Creative Assembly. Charge bonus of 42. Okay, not too shabby. Onwards we go to the Grail Knights. These glorious Grail Knights. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. So the Grail Knights, armored and shielded, living saints. Knights who have sipped from the Grail are elevated above mere mortals. They truly are what is best in men. It's not pompous at all. Anti-large, absolutely huge. These guys have 80 armor. They've got their bronze shields as well. Their leadership at base is 80, which is huge. Speed of 75. Their melee attack is magical, of course, and at 40, and their melee defense is at 30. So again, you don't want to keep them in combat, but when they come in, they hit hard, especially with a charge bonus of 82. If you are not cycle charging these guys, you're wasting precious time. You're wasting a massive charge bonus that'll make a huge difference to weapon strength. That is also anti-large. Remember, their bonus to large is 12, and their armor piercing damage is 11. Next up, we do have, let's see, physical resistance of 20%, immune to vigor. These guys will stick around, and they will fight from start to finish with the same level of, armor, with the same will to fight, with the same attack capabilities and defense capabilities. So that is huge. Vigor is a massive issue on the battlefield. You can watch the episode I have from my beginner's guide about how much fatigue and vigor affect stats. It's massive, so big deal. I can't stress that enough, and I think 5 times is enough, actually. They can hide in forest, immune to psychology. That's big. Hopefully that's not because we have some unit nearby that does that. And, of course, we have the lance formation as well. Now, with these guys covered, I will take a quick cut, and we will be back with a new battle, so I don't have this hideous... Well, it's not hideous, it's pretty, but I don't want that blocking the view. I'll be right back. Alright, so that was the Grail Knights. We are back in combat now against Gelt once again. Maybe I should have... I put them as defenders. I'm surprised he's eagerly attacking us. Anyway, Mounted Yeoman Archers. Again, a unit we are familiar with. Very fast, Vanguard deployment. So I guess that's the only other unit with Vanguard deployment. Alongside the Mounted Yeoman, so far, of course. We've got an armor of 40, leadership of 44, alright. Speed of 90, so that's great. Their melee attack and melee defense, obviously you do not want them to get caught in melee combat. Weapon strength of 22. Charge bonus of 10, again, they're not meant for melee. Ammunition is 20, alright. Range of 125, so that is a fair sight shorter than their peasant bowman brethren, but they will have other range units that they can outshoot. I'm trying to remember my numbers here. So they will see a decent amount of use, I think, and because of their high speed, they can be used, of course, if you kite them, they can be used to trickle some damage in as your enemy approaches, etc. We don't really see that too much. I don't think the meta is in favor of that outside of using that kind of tactic for the Wood Elves. So I don't know how much use these guys are going to get in sort of competitive play and whatnot. But it will be interesting to see these guys maybe baiting people into anti-large cavalry or something like that. So curious to see if these guys get more action now that the entire roster has been fleshed out. Apart from that, of course, Vanguard deployment I already mentioned, and they can fire whilst moving. So that's, of course, valuable, especially when you're kiting. Now, up in the air, first up we have the Pegasus Knights. Again, another unit we are familiar with. Pegasus is looking at me. That Pegasus is looking at me, this guy here. He doesn't like me. All right. No, he loves me. Okay, so we've got the Pegasus Knights up next. Oh, they're all looking at me. You see what I mean? It's unnerving when they all just turn to look at you. Okay, we're good. So, armored and shielded, anti-large, very fast. Okay, decent armor with 80. They have their shields as well, so if they start getting shot out, they do have Vanguard deployment. Want to make a quick note of that. So that is the third unit we have with Vanguard deployment. So again, if like your mounted yeomen are out front and you've got Pegasus Knights flying over them to protect them from a cavalry charge, it'll be very interesting. They are, okay, so, where was I? Armor, leadership, speed of 105, massive. Leadership, I think I skipped. Base value of 70, that's great. Melee attack is 32, melee defense is 22, so again, you don't want them to get stuck in combat. We already know this. Weapon strength is 56. 14 of that is armor piercing, and 10 of that is bonus versus large. The charge bonus of 46. So yeah, I am curious if we're going to see... I'd be curious to test out Pegasus Knights alongside mounted yeomen and see if you can bait out enemy cavalry, or just large units in general, and then swoop in with Pegasus Knights, or, send in some of these, like, well, maybe not Grail Knights, maybe Knights of the Realm from inside a forest to, like, cut them off. It'll be really interesting play. That was fast. Who were you? Oh, you're fighting... Well, that's not wise. Why would you do that? Oh, a little bit of friendly fire here. So, when fighting Gelt, evidently he takes next to no damage. Alright, we're going to restart this battle so we can finish this off. Literally just 2 units to go. Maybe I shouldn't bring these guys in next time. All right, we're back. So again, this is the combination of units I would be excited to see. You've got like Pegasus Knights up in the air, maybe a little bit further off. You've got your mounted yeoman archers up front, popping shots off, and they pull back, right away to safety, and then the Knights of the Realm come swooping out. Pegasus Knights come in for like a rear charge or something. It could be very interesting with those anti-large units and whatnot. I'd be curious to see if these units get some action. Obviously, it's all dependent on composition and strategy. I might be messing around. I'll take a couple of losses, but I might mess around with some of that stuff when these guys officially release. Now we have the Royal Pegasus Knights, who, compared to the Pegasus Knights, have more health, or better melee attack, better melee defense, better weapon strength, and better charge bonus. Also, some difference in abilities at the bottom, as you can see. So, the Royal Pegasus Knights, do they not look very different? I can't, Surely they have some major visual difference that I'm simply not seeing. Interesting. Maybe I'm just going blind from looking at their glorious lances. Oh wait, is that the big difference? I mean, okay, I guess that counts. Maybe I am going blind looking at their glorious lances. Alright, so let's look at these horsies and discuss their abilities. So, armored and shielded, living saints, anti-large, and very fast. Their armor is at 80 with the bronze shields. Excellent. Leadership of, what's the base? 70. Nice. Speed of 105. Again, very fast. Melee attack is magical, and at 42, that's a solid melee attack. 28 melee defense is better. So, significantly better than their not-so-royal Pegasus Knight brethren. Their weapon strength at 61, 19 of that is armor piercing, and 12 of that is bonus versus large. So again, that's huge. And the charge bonus of 60. Very big difference that the word royal makes to these guys. They have also physical resistance at 20%, immune to vigor, that's going to be huge. Vanguard deployment with these guys as well, immunity to psychology, and the blessings of the lady. Where is that coming from? Who's giving you? Do they have it themselves? We'll just double check that to see. And as what's his face Gelt gets closer, let's take a look at the Hippogriff Knights, the Royal Hippogriff Knights. Oh, that guy's looking at me. This buddy here. All right, let's look at these guys first. Let's give them their modeling moment. Such beautiful models. This game is gorgeous. I've said it 1,000 times maybe, but I just can't get over it. Look how great these guys look. Absolutely amazing. The detail is just insane. All right, enough gushing again. So Royal Hippogriff Knights, armor piercing, and they cause terror. Nice to see some terror-causing abilities coming to Bretonnia, sort of, in a mobile sense. I always talk about how highly mobile Fear and Terror is amazing, and these guys are highly mobile. So they've got an armor of 60, no shields on these guys compared to the last couple flying units we were looking at, which is strange because they are carrying shields. But, okay. Their leadership of 75, the base is actually 70, okay. 85 is speed, so not as fast as your Pegasus Knights, but, still right up there, and plus they're flying, so obstacles on the ground don't mean anything. Melee attack of 40, so that's solid. Melee defense of 28. Again, not the best. You don't want them to be stuck into melee, but they can kind of hold their own if they will be. And a weapon strength of 114. 78 of that is armor-piercing damage. I'm going to ignore that victory call. That's big. That's massive. 78 armor-piercing damage, causing fear and terror and being able to run around the field. I imagine we'll be seeing quite a bit of these guys. Imagine diving these guys into, a flank of like great swords or something. I think we'll be seeing quite a bit of the Royal Hippogriff Knights. And then we've got the charge bonus of 50. So, pretty solid overall. Watching Gelt get taken down here. Pretty solid army overall. It's nice to see the variety brought into these guys finally after such a long time of waiting. I'm very excited to see how these guys are actually used on the battlefield. So, what I'm going to do real quick now is I'm going to review some of the prices, some of the costs, and see how the numbers add up. And then we can take a look at some battle testing, perhaps, compare how these units actually perform against enemy units on the battlefield. So I will be right back. Going to get a mod switched in that'll allow me to make any unit the commander, just so we can get some better testing done. So let's jump out of this victory and let the testing begin. Okay, so we're back in, and we're going to start testing pretty soon, but again, just want to look at some price differences here. So the Peasant Bowmen go from 400 to 500 for their variants with fire arrows and pox arrows. Then we've got, Mounted Yeomen at 400, Knights Errant at 700, Knights of the Realm 1,000, Questing Knights 1,200, Grail Knights 1,500, and Grail Guardians, who we did not have on the battlefield. So we're going to have to look at them. Grail Guardians at 1,600. And these guys, Armored and Shielded Living Saints Anti-Infantry, did we see them? I feel like we didn't see them. Anyways, we'll take a look at them. So they have an armor of 120 with the bronze shields. Their leadership is 85, speed of 75. Nice. Melee attack is 32 with magic damage, of course. Melee defense of 56. So that is going to be an interesting combination. Cavalry unit that can really hold its ground. These guys might be a very interesting anvil. I'd be very curious to see how well they work in that sort of role. So that'll be an interesting unit. Plus, the melee attack is middling at best. Now the weapon strength is 33, 6 of that is armor piercing, and their charge bonus is also, for cavalry, they're not shock cavalry, of course, it's regular cavalry, 34. So it'll be pretty interesting. It's not high. Let's try. Oh, also one more thing I wanted to check. Pegasus Knights are 1,200. Royal Pegasus Knights are 1,600, and the Royal Hippogriff Knights are 2,000. So that's pretty big. And the Field Trebuchet versus the Blessed Field Trebuchet is a 200-point difference. So it'll be interesting to see what compositions work and which compositions don't. Again, this is a first look. I'm sort of speaking off the top of my head, just making some guesses. I can't be sure at a first look, so I will be doing a lot of testing and just seeing what actually makes sense, what doesn't make sense. And I like messing around with with composition and stuff as well, so I will be doing a fair bit of that. Now, for the first test, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Grail Guardians, and let's get the Knights of the Realm. I'm going to test some things separately. That's going to be my Lord, and we're going to go up against the Vampire Counts. We're just going to give them a unit of Blood Knights. And I want to see, so the balance of power is strongly against me. Let's see what the chances are here. And plus we'll get some beauty shots at the Grail Guardians as well, because we missed them. Those poor guys. We're still on Oakenhammer, that's fine by me. Oakenhammer, sorry. Blood Knights, me. Okay. Yeah, if Knights of the Realm take out the Blood Knights, I'd be very, very surprised. Their melee defense is pretty high. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so first things first, I want to get a look at these guys, because I feel like I missed them in my haste. They look very familiar, though. Maybe I didn't miss them, but you know what? What harm is there at a couple of beauty shots? This guy, a little chess piece. Oh, man. Again, with their flaming, well, not flaming, but their magical lances. Glorious magical lances. Oh, another little chess piece. That looks like Enchantress. Got Lions. I love how Bretonnian units look. I've actually been pretty exposed, I guess, to Bretonnia. One of my friends fields a Bretonnian army. He's thoroughly excited for this DLC. Or free LC. I hate that term. Okay. We're going to test the Knights of the Realm against the Blood Knights. Let's just see how that works, because I don't think it'll work very well. So let's see, there's 60 of us, these guys, there's 60 of them. Statistically, they are better in almost every way. We're going to pop into Lance formation, because that'll give us a better charge. And we're going to see how well we perform. Lance against cavalry? I don't know. We'll see how the Lance performs against infantry as well. Come on. Faster. 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 Going so slow. Alright, so we'll see how well this does. I don't think I'll Lance... My god, this game is beautiful. Okay, I don't think the Lance formation is ideal against cavalry, probably. Oh yeah, they're getting slaughtered. So that is not a thing. That is most certainly not a thing. Yeah, they got the full surround. These guys are going to get killed. Okay, so we're going to rematch that, and I want to try using these guys as the anvil and then using these guys as the hammer. Let's see if the rear charge and the sandwiching does anything. But I guess I'm happy to see, I must say, that the Knights of the Realm can't just wipe out Blood Knights. But that does mean that you have to be wary of that still. I'm going to test out some of the other anti-large units as well. Let's get these guys. Come on. Come on. Go, go, go. Speed this up a little bit. There we go. Alright. Make sure these guys charge in. Get a decent surround. Get these guys around. There we go. Decent charge. So we should be fine in there. And let's get these guys to come in from the rear. And we'll see how well they manage. So these guys should be able to hold the line pretty well. They are dying, because again, these guys are obviously anti-large, so it's not like this is the ideal enemy target or anything. Are you guys coming? Come on. There we go. Give me a good charge. So now we've got anti-large for Bretonnia as well. Let's see if that does change the tide of battle. Get some good hits in. These guys came around this way for some reason when I gave them a decent rear charge. And now the Knights of the Realm, of course, are winning. It's because the Blood Knights were already weakened. They are fully surrounded. And this, we should come out victorious. We should hopefully come out victorious. Yeah, this shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so now the Knights of the Realm, the anti-large, coming in. They came in from the rear charge. These guys were already damaged. The Grail Guardians, keep thinking Grail Defenders, they actually took quite a bit of a beating. They took quite a beating. They are... Okay, so let's end that, and let's not use the Blood Knights. Let's try a different large unit. So let's say the Vampire Counts come in with... Where are they? Crypt Horrors. Coming with Crypt Horrors. Let's see how that goes. So if they're not up against an enemy anti-large unit, we're going to try just the Knights of the Realm. And we'll see how that works. Actually, let's take... we've got the Knights of the Realm. We'll also take the Grail Knights. You know what? Okay, we're going to do another Blood Knight test. Because I want to see how the Grail Knights perform against the Blood Knights. And what else have we got? It's anti-large. Okay. Again, the Grail Guardians are anti-infantry, so I want to test some stuff out, like the wedge formation and stuff against infantry as well. Maybe we'll toss around some Empire infantry. I want to check how these anti-large guys do against the Demigryph Knights with halberds, for example, as well. And also the Gorbel. Okay, so let's see. We've got our Grail Knights, so let's send the Grail Knights in first. I'm trying to think. I guess the only harm in using lance formation against cavalry is that you'll get surrounded more easily. Do the pros outweigh the cons? That charge bonus buff is pretty huge. Let's try it. All right, let's dive in. Let's get a nice view up in here. We can get a better... There we go. That works for me. For this particular example, if we could just charge a little bit faster. Whoa, that's not what I meant at all. I'm not going to let you ruin this shot. There we go. The struggle of getting nice shots. All right. Didn't really see anything there. Goddamn. Okay, let's see how this performs. So yeah, we didn't really get surrounded. We actually got a decent shape going on over here. Yeah, destroy them. Come on. All right. So here, pretty even balance. We got the charge. Oh, actually no, there was a counter charge. So pretty even balance here with the Blood Knights. Let's see, they're at 36. We're at 33. You'd think with the wedge formation and the boost to charge bonus, 112 is the charge bonus. That's massive. You'd think we'd win a bit more handily. We are winning the battle, but obviously this is if we win this engagement, which we ultimately don't, it would have been Pyrrhic anyway. All right, so let's rematch that and try our hammer and anvil again. But that's getting really expensive now for a single unit of Blood Knights. I don't know how viable that would be, but the Grail Knights did a significant amount of damage. So there is that. Okay, let's get our anti-infantry Grail Guardians here and Grail Knights. Let's see what we can do. Actually, let's push you over here. Okay. Come on. Over here. There we go. Not the prettiest of approaches, but that's all right. Okay, so we're going to get the Grail Guardians up in their face, and we're going to try and get a side or rear charge. So these guys would hurry up a little bit. Okay, so they're getting the counter charge. That's fine. Okay. So again, they eat a lot of damage on that charge. They eat a lot of damage on that charge, actually. Yeah, I mean, they have a huge charge bonus. That's okay, though. Let's try and we need to back up a little bit to get a decent charge, I think. And let's try and get a non-wedged charge here, and let's see what that does. So, okay, a decent amount of damage off the charge, and now, obviously, we should win this without any issue. But that is an expensive counter to, like, a single unit. I was hoping there would be something here, but of course... not so much. Not so much. All right, that's fine. Let's try it out against something like a couple of Crypt Horrors. Oops, right, so I've got some Cryptors there, and then we could give them a lot of Cryptors before the balance evens out. Obviously, we're not going all in, though, so let's start with just a unit of Cryptors, and we'll just take a look at what happens. Let's see how that works out. Here, I think it shouldn't be an issue, because these guys are not, Cryptors are not anti-large, so here I can't imagine it'll be an issue for either unit, Knights of the Realm or Grail Guardians. Alright, let's dive in there and see what we can do. Yeah, see, so like, for example, fire arrows would work wonders against these guys, I imagine. Okay. Let's charge in. Yeah, let's try and get a surround on them, because if we go with the wedge, we won't be able to surround them, but we should be able to surround them like this. Okay. Make it pretty. Prettier than it already is, and let's hope this should not be a problem, I imagine. And if this isn't a problem, then that is nice. That certainly changes the Knights of the Realm. Alright. Good charge. Good surround. Get those commoners shooting their filthy bows. I know that's an old one, but the color commentary, let's call it that. The color commentary is amazing, as is the damage output here. So, okay, yeah. No contest. Those Cryptors are dead. D-E-D. Dead. That's how they spell it in French, I'm sure. Alright, so don't even need to... Actually, let's see how much damage we eat on that. We've lost 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... Okay, so we ate some damage. You use a Lore of Life spell to keep it alive if you really want to, but that's a good trade, I think. So they're not anti-large. They're not the units to take against an enemy anti-large unit still, which of course is how it's supposed to be, I suppose. But they are certainly anti-large. All right, let's get a hit with these Grail Knights and see how quickly that gets taken care of. Speed it up a little bit. Come on. And I don't think I'm going to test the Grail Guardians. There's no real point there. So yeah, again, imagine having the mounted yeoman archers pelting at some Cryptors, trying to pull them away into a forest somewhere, and then charging them with the Grail Knights. I think that stuff will be quite nice, I think. All right, let's charge into these guys. And come on, countercharge me. Not gonna countercharge me? There we go. In they come, and smack them. Alright. So this should not be a problem. I imagine these guys are going to drop like flies. See, the damage off the charge was... Oh, wow, that was instantaneous. The damage off the charge really wrecked them, and now they're just dropping. Obviously, with the leadership damage, doesn't help that they're crumbling and all, but that's magical. Magical like the melee attacks. That is huge. These guys, not a single one died. Nice. Okay. That went about how I imagined it would go. And I imagine we can take out a couple of Crypt Horror units with some Grail Knights or Knights of the Realm before they start to falter and become less valuable for the remainder of the battle, as it might be. So that is pretty solid. Now, let's see. Any other... We could test against a Terrorgeist, I suppose. We could test against a Varghulf as well. Where's the Varghulf? The armor piercing, the weapon strength is quite high, so maybe we do a quick test there. See what we can do. Oops. See what we can do with that, and then we'll move on to some infantry comparisons with the Grail Guardians and how they perform against infantry, etc., etc. So let's get him a Varghulf. I don't think it'll be a problem at all, but I'd like to test for sure, just to see how this plays out. And again, hopefully, I'm going to try and make the timestamps in the description as detailed as possible, so it's easy to skip through these. But if I missed one here or there, I hope you guys do not mind. I'm trying to make this thorough, so you guys have a lot to look at while you wait to get the game. And I am trying to make up for the fact that, I'm sorry guys, I won't be live streaming this anytime soon, which is really annoying because I was looking forward to it, but then the timing just didn't line up. Anyways, Knights of the Realm, for glory against this Varghulf, standing there like the fool that he, she, it is. And let's get ourselves... You know what? Let's get into Lance and see how that affects the charge. And I do want to catch the damage off the charge here. So, not going to go into pretty mode. Come on, faster. So their general speed is slower so they can maintain formation, but the moment they get close enough to charge... There we go. In they go. We should still get a surround, because obviously that makes no difference. And let's see what we do here. So, off the charge, not as much damage done. Whoa. But, oh yeah, look at that morale drop. Taking a lot of damage. We have lost 2 units already, though. That's fine, and I don't think this will be too much of an issue. Ooh, you know, it's actually getting some hurt out. It's that extra armor-piercing damage. It's managing to kill quite a few people, but ultimately it will get taken out. It's been surrounded. I'm glad to see the morale damage isn't factoring in so quickly, so we can see it a bit more realistically, because obviously crumbling causes its own damage and stuff, so it can be a little misleading. But the Varghulf, of course, did a lot more damage to our Knights of the Realm, because it is, you know, significantly more armor-piercing, etc. So, again, we won, but that time we actually lost a significant number of knights. Let's see how the shiny Lance Knights do. Forgetting their names. Grail Knights. Add the word right there. We'll see how they perform. And... Are these swords? These are swords. Lightsabers. Alright, Grail Knights, off you go. Let's see how this charge performs. And again, the wedge just seems to make sense. Extra charge bonus on top of the 82. It just makes sense. We're going to get a little bit closer this time, though, before I trigger that. Let's speed it up just so we can get there faster. Alright, pop that, and let's get ready to go in. Alright. Give me a good hit here. So again, once they're ready to charge, they should accelerate significantly. And the acceleration difference will also make a huge difference to... I guess not much to charge at when you're approaching like that. The acceleration will also mean that you don't have to move as far away to get a second charge in when you're as a wedge. Now, this is going a lot faster. We are taking some hits, so again, obviously still better than when we were up against the Crypt Horrors for obvious reasons, the armor piercing, for example. But yeah, obviously this is going very quickly. So that's it's nice to see these anti-large units added on, high-speed anti-large as response troops for Bretonnia. I don't think I need to play too much of this. We won't lose that many. We will lose more than we lost against the Crypt Horrors again, obviously. So that's a pretty solid... No, what? Situation to be in. So, yeah, I feel like, Knights of the Realm were already pretty solid. Now they're all that much better. Now, let's go against the Empire. Whoa, no, thank you. And let's take a look at... Where are they? The Demigryph, or shall we? Now let's look at the Demigryph Knights with halberds, and we'll compare them with Knights of the Realm, Grail Knights, and I don't think we'll perform as well. I mean, the balance of power is significantly against us, and statistically, yeah, I don't think we'll do too well here. But that's why we test. So it looks like you can't, like, it's not like Blood Knights versus Demigryph Knights with halberds. You'll still need support, maybe like a 2-on-1 situation, maybe some poison, something like that, to make the difference. So let's see, we want to get Knights of the Realm in there first. Let's get you charging in. Maybe I should change the scenery. All the brown, gray dullness taken away from the glory of Bretonnian heraldry. God. Again, another just gorgeous unit. Just straight up gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. Alright. I'm not going to pop into Wedge. Just want to try and get somewhat of a surround here. So again, Knights of the Realm, I don't think we're going to do that well. I think we'll probably suffer quite heftily. We'll get a better charge in, but we're not going to last as long, I don't think. Okay, so the surround is going to come in. Yeah, we took a lot of damage already. Death embraces our lord, so that's going to cause a little bit of morale damage, but I hope it doesn't actually rout us before we see the end of the battle. Well, I think that's pretty telling, even without the morale damage. They killed almost half of our units, and we haven't killed a single one of theirs. So, that's pretty telling. That's not going to work. Rematch that. That's basically never going to work. Don't do that. Lesson learned. We're going to take the Grail Knights now and see what the damage is there. All right. Oh, no, not the Grail Guardians, Grail Knights. Haha. See, this is where being live, that would have stopped that sooner. I was looking at the stats. I was like, the charge bonus just doesn't make sense. I could have sworn I was speaking accolades about the charge bonus of the Grail Knights, and then I saw that, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Obviously, I had the wrong unit selected. Not a problem, because we have fixed it before it became one. Okay, hopefully... Yeah, see, they will get a much better charge in. This is why I feel like the wedge is a good idea, because that charge bonus damage is huge. Let's hit him. More it hurts. We'll see. We have more health. We have better stats for the most... Yeah, we have better stats for the most part. Whoa. Alright. Took a lot of damage on the charge. I don't think... Yeah, we're dropping like flies here. Demigryph Knights with Halberds are wrecking us. Their bonus versus large, let's remind ourselves, is 30, whereas the Grail Knights is 12. Yeah, that just makes sense. Okay, so we're doing some damage. So at least the damage is significant. Maybe with some poison in there or something, this matchup would work a lot better. Might be worth a test, but this certainly is not working. Which again, I feel like I need to emphasize is good to see. I'm glad it is that way. Let's try and get some poison arrows in there and see how much of a difference that actually makes. Yeah. Gonna test a couple of things here. Let's get you in there. I think we can all accept that the Knights of the Realm don't stand a chance against Demigryph Knights with Halberds or against Blood Knights. So we're gonna go in with the Alberic in charge. And we'll see a couple of things. We'll see if poison makes enough of a difference for the Grail Knights to succeed in this engagement. And then we'll see if Alberic's presence makes enough of a difference. And it should. He is a lord. But again, just testing. Just testing a variety of things. You might be wondering why. Because why not? Alright. Let's not get too hasty. Make sure the poison is coming in before we dive in there. It'll have some early damage, but that's okay. No, halt. Come on. Alright, so we'll get some early damage in from the poison, but hopefully the effect damage does a decent amount of work and we can actually see a decent hit from these knights of ours. So, the charge was better. Alright, we're going to stop firing. I know it's obstructed, but we're going to stop firing just to see. And that actually made, it looks like, enough of a difference. They didn't take too much damage from the ranged arrow fire, but that initial, I think, stat reduction may have... it only lasted for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, but that may have made quite a bit of a difference. Huh. This is going on for a bit longer than I would expect, actually. We probably can't get another shot off. We're probably obstructed. Another thing that might be worth checking is doing cycle charges from the Grail Knights into Demigryph Knights with Halberds, because again, the charge bonus is pretty massive. Alright, ultimately, didn't work out still, even with a little bit of poison in there, but we did a lot of damage this time around. Alright, let's try that again, and let's try cycle charging and using poison as well. Just want to see how effective that ends up being. And again, this is a lot of sort of theory crafting. A lot of you have asked for faction guides. And that's something that's been on top of my mind for a while. I definitely want to do faction guides, but this is sort of why I've been waiting. I want to wait until we have access to almost everything, and then I can really test all these, like, potentially silly things. I mean, are we going to see any of these combinations on the battlefield ever? Who knows? I'd like to influence some of that thinking, though. I just want to test out some funny or funky or cool things, like, you know, cycle charging Grail Knights into Daemon Knights with halberds. So that's why these faction guides and stuff, I hope they get to be pretty detailed. But that's why I haven't done them yet. I've been waiting for all the information we could possibly have. So let's get this poison in there. Let's get the lance formation, because that'll help with acceleration, deceleration, and charge bonus. And let's cycle charge the crap out of these Demigryph Knights with halberds. So that initial volley isn't going to do too much damage. Oh wow, we are slow. We're all kinds of slow. What the hell? A lesson learned. This is comedic. Alright, come on. We'll get the charge in. We should get a shot in. Alright, so decent hit on the charge. Let the charge bonus last. It's about 10 seconds or so. We actually have the surround from the archers as well, but we're going to pull away. Alright, we should be able to pull away pretty easily. We might take some hits on the way out. Come on, get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. No. We took a lot of hits on the way out. And let's try charging them again. Should be a basically instant charge. Let's stop the firing so we don't get hit by poison as well, even though we already did. I don't know if that did much better. I mean, the poison clearly makes a difference. We know that poison is a huge game changer. It's reducing their weapon damage, and their armor piercing damage. Probably the biggest stat debuffs that's affecting them. Obviously, later on in the battle, the vigor reduction will also make a big difference. But ultimately, they won that one as well. Interesting. Well, not entirely surprised, but it's nice to see the poison make such a big difference in that engagement. I wonder if, again, we'll be seeing more of those combinations. I wonder if we'll ever see, like, mounted yeoman archers with pox arrows. Again, what a disgusting concept. Very, well, literally biological warfare, I guess. Okay. Now, let's test. Let's get some swordsmen or some great swords in there. No, not in there. Where are we? Where are we? Great swords. Let's see. So let's get some great swords in there, and we're going to use our Grail Guardians. Oh, I wanted to test Albric. I mean, he's a lord. We kind of know how that's going to end up. So we've got the Grail Guardians, and I want to get the Knights Errant as a cheap sort of foil to the Grail Guardian. Where are we? Where are we? Can we not? Oh, right, obviously, because this mod is not from this time frame. So let's get our... we can't even get the Knights Errant. Let's get... this is funny. Let's get the Grail Knights. Why not? Not going to use them Grail Guardians, and we've got the Knights Errant. So again, sort of like a foil. Maybe we'll also try it out with... it'll be pointless with the Yeoman, I think. So we'll try it out with Knights of the Realm. Again, just to test believable costs. Where are we? There we go. And the Knights Errant, and we've got a unit of swordsmen. So again, keep in mind sort of the cost balances here. I mean, they're only spending 950 for us almost spending 2,300. But there's longevity comes into play as well, obviously. Like if they don't take much damage in performing this hammer and anvil, what kind of a difference does that make? So bear in mind, salt must be added to this conversation. It's important to add salt. Not in the sense of, be salty, but in the sense of taking things with a grain of salt. Alright, enough of that nonsense while I wait for the loading screens. Let's go in and see what kind of damage we can do here. And again, we'll test the wedge formation as well on infantry just to see how that performs. And let's speed it up. Oh, this should hurt. This should hurt. 34 charge bonus is still a decent charge bonus. Alright. Give him a good hit. Not even standing stationary. Oh yeah. There we go. Bam! Fools. Okay, we're gonna get a surround. Now, we're not going to get too much damage out when we're in melee. But, again, not taking any damage, more or less. We're going to give them a nice rear charge, and these guys should maybe instantly shatter. They might even die instantaneously. Well, we will see. Alright. See, incoming charge. Good hit. Again, these are the Knights Errant. Okay, decent, solid hit there. And how much damage have we got? Decent amount of damage. Their morale is obviously dropping. We've taken very little damage. These guys are fine. These guys are fine. Swordsmen are not. I'm curious to see some cavalry-based hammer and anvil tactics. We lost 3 units there, but again, with a life bloom or something going on, those guys may have probably stayed alive. There we go, call of victory. And actually, no, sorry, that was the Knights of the Realm. So, hyper-efficient, obviously. We're going to check it out with the Knights Errant next. Knights Errant. It's not a French word. Alright. Fatigue is kicking into my eyes. It's been a long week, a long day at work as well. It's going to be a long weekend too. I've been waiting for a very long time for this though. Alright, so let's get the Knights Errant over here. No. Over here. Come on. Okay, these guys are going in. Again, probably going to get a sweet charge because the Great Swords are too stupid to just know not to fight today. That's okay, I'm not complaining. And then after this, we'll check out the wedge formation, or the lance formation. I guess that sounds cooler, but, I mean, was it ever called the lance formation? Not from what I know. Nothing special. We're used to seeing these cavalry charges now. Alright, let's get you over here. Again, just not taking any, well, next to no damage. 3 kills, very minimal damage taken. You drop any spell that activates Life Bloom, or you get Earth Blood in here, and problem solved. Alright, decent rear charge should cap these guys off. They're going to take a lot of damage on the charge, I'm sure. There's the charge. Decent amount of damage. Morale is crushed. Yeah, it's a very mobile hammer and anvil. With a speed of 75, the Grail Guardians are still faster than any infantry unit, so you could isolate, like if the Empire army, let's say, is massive, but a unit was chasing some of your spearmen off, you could activate these 2 guys and get sort of a hammer and anvil thing going on. But it's certainly less, it's a bit more maybe advanced tactically. It's not Control-A, double right-click on the enemy with a hard lock group. We see that a lot. But some interesting options there. Now, we are taking some damage as the fighting goes on. The Knights Errant, especially, their melee defense is quite low. So we are losing quite a few of them, considering how little they've actually fought. So you'd have to get another cycle in there. Which, shock cavalry, you should be cycle charging them anyway. I was hoping for a quick conclusion, like we had with the Knights of the Realm, but obviously that is not the case, so let's cycle back in. And this'll finish them off, without a doubt. Into the air. And shatter. There we go. Not surprising. Now let's try out the wedge and see what the lance. See what the lance formation does to an infantry unit. More cycle charging. Oh, I didn't hit rematch. More cycle charging from the Knights Errant may have gone better. So maybe let's try that out first, and then we'll see what the lance formation does. Gonna take a sip of my Coke. Keep my throat alive. Alright. Okay. So, we're going to go in with the Guardians, and we're going to get the Knights Errant, and we're going to cycle charge them. My AP spam. Impress all the StarCraft players in the crowd. Alright, whoop. Okay. Soon enough, we'll be able to charge. I want to try and make that first charge come in sooner. So let's say we've had more time to plot our movement. For some reason, the opponent isn't smart enough to realize what the hell's going on. Not realistic at all, but we're just testing extremes here. Alright, so let's see what happens here. Oh, turn their ears. Okay. That's not going to go well for you, buddy. What a stupid unit. Okay, well, now this is not really going to be a rear charge anymore, though. Which is unfortunate. doesn't really do well for my testing, but these Grail Guardians are finishing off these guys on their own, more or less, already. So there comes the first charge. Going to do a decent amount of damage, I think. Yep. Alright, so let's say, you know what, we pull these guys away, and let's pull the Guardians away as well. We'll pull these guys away. Okay. So let's say the Guardians are now going to go deal with something else elsewhere, so they're on their way out. Knights Errant, they're leaving, and they're going to turn around and do a finishing charge. Let's see how much damage. That was a slow turn, buddy. That wasn't even a charge. But, I mean, this unit is largely taken out of commission. This guy's stuck in battle. It's like I feel like we can't run away from infantry sometimes. Alright, let's go. Send these guys flying. There we go. Good hang time, buddy. Yeah, okay. Ooh. Oh, that distance. Yeah, see, like, if you cycle charge them. Now let's retry that, and this time let's hope the Guardians don't get a full surround, because that kind of broke my rear charge a little bit. So let's try and prevent that surround from happening. I think I'm testing a lot more than I maybe should be. Alright. Come on. So we've got these guys and these guys up there. And altitude. Alright. So, I mean, I would say all of these tests have been successful. But obviously, you're against greatswords. We're going to try it against, like, halberdiers or something afterwards. And see how the Grail Guardians do against an anti-large unit. Alright. Let's see how this goes. So we're going to have our first charge coming in. Hopefully we don't get a full surround. There we go. It's okay. I didn't want the charge bonus. We're fine. I just want to maintain the shape, so I just kind of gave a multiple order there. And we're going to get a rear charge in here. And we're going to cycle charge the Knights Errant and see how that performs. So we're going to have our first charge come in. Decent hit. Yep, lots of damage. Okay, cool. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull them out. The effectiveness is, I think, about 10 seconds, but I usually like to count down to 5 because it sort of gradually fades away. So I usually wait until 5 seconds. All right, we're going to get another cycle in there. And let's see. They should conclude a bit more quickly. Oh, are you serious? Are you serious? A couple of individuals stop your charge. It's moments like that where it kind of takes me right out of the battle. Unbelievable. All right. Turn around, charge back in. Please don't just get stuck in. There we go. Couple of hits. Good distance. Keep pushing through. These guys are really willing to chase us out. Also, it looks like the anti-infantry from the Grail Guardians comes from area of effect attacks, when you see their kind of swooping swings. Alright, there we go. We finally disengaged, and now we can re-engage. So not the perfect disengage there. Didn't expect the greatswords to follow us out, but decent enough for what I'm trying to test here. In perfect conditions, obviously, to test it out. Alright, we come in, and this should destroy them, more or less. Yeah. But that makes sense. They took some damage, but that's just because they got stuck in. Not a problem. Now we're going to try the wedge, the lance. See what the lance actually does to infantry. And to test that, what we'll do is we'll take the Knights Errant, because they're cheap. Got an alright charge bonus, sort of a middling charge bonus. So we'll see how that performs as a regular charge first, and then we'll see how it performs as a lance. And I guess I'll need to micro these guys because their melee defense is low, so I should play as I would be playing in an actual battle. So I will try and micro them in and out of charges. And obviously I have to pull them away farther than I was initially because these great swords are giving chase. More chase than I'd expect. Now, let's try and pay attention to how much damage they take on the charge. So great swords, 7,440. Charge is inbound. And obviously this is not a science. This is not perfect math. But let's see how this changes. So 7,440, charge is coming in. These guys are waiting for it. They eat it, and 6,602. Let's call it at 6,602. Okay. Well, I'm testing the charge. So 6,602. concede defeat, rematch it, and we'll see if the lance makes a difference. 6602. It should make a difference in piercing through the formation, so I imagine it'll work great for punching through the front lines and then hitting, infantry, handgunners, etc. that are in the back. And after this test, we're going to try against halberdiers. I wonder how that looks. Yeah, that looks pretty. Alright, so let's charge into these guys and see if we pierce through. Do any of you guys remember the number? Because I sure don't know. Okay, so this will take longer to get here. So I guess you really want to switch into wedge as you're coming in. Just want to see... Give that a look next. Alright, so we come in. Do we punch through? Not really, actually. We do a lot more damage with the wedge. Which, again, we expect that. Is it significantly more? I don't know, it didn't feel like significantly more. I was hoping the lance formation would allow you to pierce through into a second layer, but evidently not, because with a wedge, that's what you try to do. You try to, you try to wedge and separate your enemy so you can push through. But that looks weird. That's definitely not what happened there. Okay. And in the long run, not performing so well. So we'll try one last thing here. I want to see transitioning into the wedge when you get close enough, how viable that is, because obviously moving in a wedge or a lance or whatever you want to call it, not so effective. You get stuck. Also, Junior spelt the American way. Just kind of noticed that. All right. So let's push in. We'll charge. Or am I forgetting how to spell Junior? This is how you know I'm tired. All right. Let's charge in. Charge in. I feel like they're moving in wedge right now. All right. There we go. All right. So let's see if this works. If we keep the forward momentum as we're charging, because we're going to slow down, but if we get close enough, then we switch into lance. Yeah, okay, that works. And then they accelerate into a charge, and they get their charge. At that time, we pierce through. And can we actually push through? Ah, yes. Push right through. Cool. So there you have it. You can penetrate a front line, get into enemy rear lines, cut off their infantry, or their ranged fire. But obviously, I'm losing a couple of troops here. They got trapped in, and they were not fighting. They were just eating the blades. But their brethren come back for the rescue, do a little bit more damage. So that's neat. I think that was just fortuitous, though. I don't think that was by design, which is too bad. Again, I was hoping lance formation or wedge formation would help you penetrate through front lines. All right, let's end that battle, and now we're going to test some of these guys out against halberdiers. Let's see how that performs. Where are we? Halberdiers, 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 halberdiers. Halberdiers, there we go. Halberdiers, armor piercing, and anti-large. Should give us a good comparison point. And after this set of tests, I think I will, maybe we look at the campaign mechanics, or maybe we do like a test battle or something, just to mess around with some of these units and just see them in action. Oh, it's darker today. All right. Yeah, maybe we do that. Maybe we test out some of these units and see them in action. All right. So, see how this works. I'm not guaranteeing any wins in my battles, mind you. So, again, that grain of salt I was mentioning earlier. Let's halt there. Let's wait for these guys to get into position. I'll probably be too busy taking beauty shots. Alright. So let's get you guys in there. Let's pull you away a little bit. And, okay, let's see how this plays out first. So we dive in, do a decent charge, get alright amount of charge damage in there. They were braced, so the charge bonus was negated, obviously. And now, we're taking quite a bit of morale damage. That looks like area of effect attacks. They're not flinging people around, though. Alright, now we're going to get the Knights Errant in here from the rear. Decent surround, probably cause a significant amount of damage. And possibly end the fight. There we go, come diving in, come swinging in. A lot of morale damage. I can't see the health bar. There we go. Okay. And the Grail Guardians, only 55. Only 5 dead. So that's not a bad number, all things considered. Let's pull these guys out. Hope they don't give chase. They did not give chase. Okay. And let's get another charge in there. No need. So Halberdiers, anti-large infantry units taken care of by Grail Guardians. So interesting combination. Maybe it could be used when the enemy is guarding their flanks with spearmen. Because again, this combination worked against a couple of different units, like great swords as well as halberdiers. Now, great swords, obviously, we expect a quick end to that engagement. So this combination might actually have a decent amount of value. And how much did it actually cost? Just one of each unit. Again, I'm just shooting from the hip here in terms of ideas. So that's quite expensive. 2,300 for a pair. But, oh. I don't know. It's interesting. Anyway, I think I'll do a couple of quick test fights now. And, again, we'll just dive into some battles and get some beauty shots, see some of these units in action, and then maybe we'll take a look at some of the campaign mechanics and the skill trees, things like that. Again, the description below should have timestamps. They should be pretty detailed, hopefully. But if they're not, I do apologize, of course. I'm trying to keep a track of everything. But let's dive in, shall we? Force lady? Là oui? Oui. All right, so for this for this first and possibly only battle for this video here, I have a small contingent here. I do want to mention, if you would like to see more sort of test battles and test scenarios, etc., let me know in the comments below. I will, I'll try and respond to as many of those as possible over the weekend when I get some time to record and maybe throw up an upload, because again, the DLC is available on the 28th, so it's Tuesday, and if I can be a source of information until then, I would love to be that. So let me know if you'd like to see specific matchups, if you'd like to see me take a specific composition against a specific enemy composition, if you want to see certain tests. I want to keep this recording sort of reasonable, but also I want to try and, answer all these questions. The big limitation, obviously, is my schedule is kind of messed up this weekend, so I can't make any promises, but I definitely try. So let me know in the comments below if you would like to see something specific, and I do apologize if my voice is sort of leaving me right now. I can feel it. Now, I've got some units that we're all familiar with, and some that we are not. Well, we're sort of familiar with them now, I guess. We have Alberic de Bordelot in charge, alongside a Damsel of Beasts, the Green Knight, who, by the way, has Vanguard deployment, in case I forgot to mention that. So there's that. All right. We've got the Grail Knights. So we're going to use these guys to come flanking in, and he'll come in as well. He has the charge bonus ability, though, so maybe I want to keep him over here. And then we've got you over here. Let's see. We'll have these guys supplement as needed, because they are anti-infantry. So I'm going to put them in the middle over here, able to help wherever necessary. And, of course, we do have the Pox arrows, and we'll get them back here, and we're up against the Empire. I feel like that's a natural fit, I suppose. So let's see what we can do here. Let's get you all grouped up properly. All right. Yeah, all right, let's see how this goes. I mean, it's the AI, so we'll see. Again, I can't guarantee a victory, but I will certainly try. All right. Start from there, and there. So what have they got? Let's see. Got some spearmen with shields. They've got Zinthor's Reichsguard, Volkmar the Grim, Demogryph Knights, Flagellum, some swords. AI composition. Not the sharpest. All right, let's get these guys going up here. And just, again, we're just kind of seeing how this all performs overall. Let's separate these guys into their own group. So 4 can go charging right in, and we'll actually separate you guys and you guys. Put you out there and put you out there. All right. And you guys should just go charging right in. Meanwhile, let's make sure we open fire as soon as possible. How fast are the guys? 28, so they're not the fastest. Let's open some shots off. All right, let's maybe stay closed. Got a charge in there. All right, first couple of shots going off. You, anti-large that you are, dive in there. Let's get you guys in here. All right, gunshots coming in. Not a problem. We can charge in and kill that noise. Sending these guys out too far wide. These guys are anti-infantry, so let's see what we can do. Anti-infantry here as well. Yeah, super slow. Okay, let's get you out of here. Let's see what is this leadership and this. I mean, we'll help with melee attack. Let's get into the Empire Knight there. Can we get to the air here? Alright, that's not the ideal charge. Let's pull away. Getting a bit of a mess going on here. Okay. Get you guys firing into these handgunners. Make sure they're not able to get all these shots off. We'll try and get some... Well, let's get a rear charge in here. Get you guys in there. Let's pull you to the side. Alright, this rear charge should do a lot of work here. Kill those spearmen with shields. We'll pull back almost right away. What are you? No. That's the halberdiers. Alright. In here. Let's get this guy out of there. And keep these guys fighting. Alright, there we go. Chase these guys down. And let's open fire here. Let's kill those bowmen. Let's get this rear charge coming in. Let's kill the Zintler's Reichsguard. And right, completely forgot about this. Pop that. That should help a ton. Good old Lore of Beasts. I imagine we'll be seeing quite a bit of that, actually. You know, let's keep firing here. Pull these guys for a rear charge on the Demigryph Knights. They are anti-large, so we'll see if that comes into play nicely. That should do a decent amount of work here. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Good surround here. The anti-infantry there taking care of the spearmen, not a problem. And the Green Knight not having an issue whatsoever. Alright, what's going on here? These guys being taken care of? Yeah, no, yeah. Okay. Okay here, we're okay here. 24 seconds, alright. Get you in there, come on. Let's finish that guy off. Alright, Green Knight onto Volkmar. Let's close in and scare these guys off with some shots. Alright, this guy needs to get to the air. So encourage these guys, get the hell out of there. So again, that regeneration obviously makes a huge difference. Okay, let's pull these guys out. Let's push in. Yeah, this is a non-issue. Drop you in. Well, actually, let's get you up here. All right, we're good there. We're good here. We could get a charge into these Demigryph Knights. Let's hit these guys. Come on, give me something pretty. All right, yeah, I mean, that's okay. Nothing too amazing. Let's cap these guys off. Alright, we're in there. Rear charge coming in, probably. Nope, doesn't look like it. If it is, we can hit it with some of this, and it'll be gone. Those Demigryph Knights are going to make it. That's alright. Battle Program's not having the best time, but that's alright. Let's hit the Tattersouls. Unbreakable that they are, that will be a problem. And of course, they're in wedge, so they're not going to catch them ever. Let's pull back. Alright. Range fire should finish these guys off. Poison will slow them down, reduce their charge effectiveness. Pop in here. Alright, let's get into the Sigmar Sons. Okay, these guys are taken care of. The Green Knight's actually having trouble against Volkmar. Let's see if that changes with the Dolorous Blade. Alright, let's cap him off. Who's fleeing? Battle Pilgrims? Seems very counterintuitive to your name. Alright, let's get you guys in here. You guys on Volkmar. Alright, there we go, there we go. Let's get you the hell out of there. And keep everyone willing to fight. Okay, we're good. Drop another one of these. What's the situation here? Volkmar's doing okay. We're obstructed. Shoot that. Okay, you need to take to the air. That's not good. Alright, we're okay. Not the end of the world. We should be fine here. I think we'll win. Volkmar is almost dead. That Dolorous Blade helped significantly, evidently. Alright. Let's pop you into these guys. Mess them up. Get a couple more shots off. There we go. Looks like we've got the shatter. Okay. So, Alberich, not as courageous as Leoncoeur, obviously. It says it in the name, Leoncoeur. A Coeur of Lyon. And, alright, let's get a... Oh, hey, he gets blood on him. What do you know? Now you know, ghosts bleed. Oh, really? That's the best you got for me? Well, he's dead. Okay, so... It's really hard to gauge some of these things against AI armies, of course, but we kind of saw how things performed there overall. We did take some losses. It was interesting to see Alberich there rout pretty easily, take a lot of damage. These kinds of scenario... I can't call them scenario battles, but these kinds of battles are really interesting to kind of see play out. Just because you actually see some of these units in action. Let's see how that went. Pyrrhic victory, not surprised. And that battle. And we lost 612 units. Grail Knights doing well, as always. Peasant Bowmen doing well. The poison was really helpful. Battle Pilgrims were quite good. And wow, these Foot Squires. Anti-infantry units. So that's it's telling. Sigmar's Sons got away with a lot. Yeah, not a very good composition. Anyways, let me know if you guys want to see any specific battles, if you want to see specific enemy compositions, and then I can try and build a composition that counters it and then take it to the battlefield. We could try some things like that, right? Like, that could be fun. Let me know in the comments below. Again, I'm curious and anxious to get all this information out of there. I just wish I could do this all live. It's so much more involved, and it can be so much more interesting. But I do want to quickly take a look at some quest battles. Not actually fighting them, but just looking at the quest battles that have been added. And then we can look at some of the campaign mechanics to wrap this video up. Maybe I'll do some campaign mechanics and then have one more battle in me. I'm fading, though. I'm fading. All right, so Alberich has one quest battle in Estalia, the Trident of Manan, however that's pronounced. This rogue knight and his army sit in a most defensible position on the far side of the battlefield from the Duke's own force. Between them is an open field offering little cover. Beyond that, Alberich must face the steel-readied mercenary knights. He must also beware of the guns used by these brigands. They would rather shoot from afar than fight with honor and courage. Yet, if Alberich holds true, then no force can forestall his judgment. Maybe I should do the next one with a French accent. Enemy forces, reinforcements expected. I imagine they have guns. Okay, rogue knights retinue. It's very tempting to click that start battle button. I mean, let me know. Very tempting. Alright, so that is Alberich's one and only quest battle, the Fey Enchantress, Chalice of Potions. Let's see. Although the Fey Enchantress did much and more with her potion, summoning a spell of unmatched power, the Fiends of Chaos still managed to land on Bretonnian shores, though in numbers much diminished. Their force still poses great danger, however, if it is not defeated here. The effects of the potion yet linger upon the beleaguered enemy, however, which gives the Bretonnians an edge. The Fey Enchantress has spent much of her strength on the storm that destroyed the fleet, yet the winds of magic still blow strong. She should be able to continue to attack them through magical means. Though they are numerous, the Chaos Hordes are fatigued and susceptible to attack. Take advantage of this and show them no quarter. The ocean is only retreat for them. Okay. Okay, reinforcements expected. Alright. Okay. I'm curious to see how these battles all play out. Louen-Leoncoeur. Let's go from north to south. Thank God for the teleportability. If you guys do not know, you can teleport to a quest battle by clicking the giant teleport button at the bottom left corner, because if you are fighting over here, you will want to teleport for the cost of 5,000 gold. And that's why you tax your peasants anyway. Alright, Wars of Errantry. Our march through the Chaos Wastes have been tough, sire, but at last, our courage seems to have been rewarded. Along the Cliff of Beasts, our scouts return with news that the forces of ruin have decided to meet us in battle. Led by Archaon the Ever-Chosen and accompanied by the Prince of Slaanesh, Sigvald the Magnificent, the Chaos Army seem ready to offer us a fight for the ages. The skies above, ever ominous during our perilous journey, turn now even more despondent. Thunder rolls across the grisly clouds, and in the distance lightning arcs through the deepening sky. The air hisses with static. Could this be the moment of our destiny? Interesting. Reinforcements expected. I wonder if one of them is Kholek. I wonder if that's a hint at Kholek. Alright, and then Sword of Gouron. The source of this vile mist is made apparent, yet here at its source it is thicker and more obfuscating than ever. At the heart of the fog lies a great army of greenskins who can be heard beyond the obscuring effluvium with much yelling, grunting, clattering, zogging, and twatting. Bretonnian knights have thus far managed to hold back all incursions into their precious realm, yet the stakes are even higher now. The fate of Bretonnia itself hangs in the balance, for Zugrak Gobspit and his deadly skull smashers have arrived. They're far more deadly than the average, standard, chaotic greenskin host, so caution is advised lest the enemy surround and destroy the Bretonnian forces, their advances hidden beneath the all-consuming murk. Interesting. Is this the battle that we saw, was it Darren that we saw fight? Or Lionheart, I guess we saw on that stream to win us Isabella. Skull Smashers. I feel like this was the one. And then we have the Wars of Errantry, Badlands. My lord, the Outriders have returned from their reconnaissance with reconnaissance? With a reconnaissance? Reconnaissance! With reports of a greenskin force massing ahead of us. They are encamped on a defensible ridge and have brought their bizarre artillery to further fortify the position. I mean, is it really bizarre? One of their artillery is a trebuchet. They appear ready to fight to the last. Further reports seem to indicate that they are bolstered by a great gathering of war bosses who seem bent on bringing their full strength to bear against you. It is clear they want the same thing we do. A decisive battle to decide our fates once and for all. We must not relent. The scourge must be wiped from the world. I mean, I guess that's strange. Like, Doomdiver catapults are strange, I suppose. Alright, so that's 1, 2, and 3. So 5 quest battles there, and what do we have? Oh, I guess I don't technically have... Vlad has changed his flag, I see. I do not technically have What's-Her-Face yet, so don't have those quest battles available to me. Anyways, let's take a look at some of the campaign mechanics. I think I'm going to jump in as Leoncoeur first. We'll take a look at the skill tree. We'll look at the mechanics, we'll point them out, and then we'll look at the other two, like the Enchantress and Alberic's skill trees as well. Maybe we won't get into the hero skill trees. And again, remember, I'm looking to you for a suggestion. What do you want to see? Which campaign would you like to see me pursue? Let me know in the comments below. So first things first, Bretonnia. Louen Leoncoeur. All right, we're gonna jump in. We're gonna see skill trees, and I'll explain some of the mechanics. And hopefully, I've got them all down pat. Man, that last shot is so sick. That's so good. I wonder if all three of them have the same video with different voiceover. That was amazing. I could watch that 100 times. I may already have. I could watch that 100 more times. Alright. Do I skip the intro? Do I keep the intro? Skip the intro, keep the intro? Decisions that are easier made when chat is telling me what they want? I'll keep the intro. Why not? And we'll see the intros for all three of the campaigns. great guy. This guy is so nice. I bet he's not up to anything shady ever. A wonderful gentleman. Okay, chapter objectives, land of chivalry, blah, 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 blah. Keeping it on screen for long enough for anybody who would like to read it. Yeah, another 5 seconds. Alright. So, how they play Bretonnia. This stuff is pretty interesting just based on what we've already seen. Honor and chivalry are the driving forces for all Bretonians. Call an errantry war in their defense. Chivalry is increased through noble actions and heroic victories, and lost through dishonorable deeds. So, for example, raising is honorable and noble and heroic, but sacking is dishonorable and it'll cost you chivalry. Your current chivalry level can be seen on the campaign interface at the top of this screen. So as you go up, so noble, 0 to 200, 199, 200 to almost 400 is honorable, then you get knightly, then you get virtuous, and then you get chivalrous. And each of these levels gives you different buffs, and as it goes down, you get debuffs, obviously. It's only one level down, it looks like. But, yeah. So, we'll look at those in detail in a bit. There is no greater benefit of chivalry than the assistance of the Green Knight, down here. This legendary hero can be called upon in times of need to destroy those that oppose you. Every time you go up a notch in terms of chivalry, you get to bring in the Green Knight. So you only get to call him in 4 times, I'm assuming. But I'm wondering if you pop up and you bring him in, and then you do some stuff, and then you drop back down below a level, can you push above it again to get the Green Knight in again? I'm wondering if there's some gaminess as an option there. I'm curious. But yeah, so every time you pop up, you get the Green Knight, you call him in, he comes, and he lasts for, I believe it's 15 turns, and yeah, and once you use him for 15 turns, he disappears. So use him wisely, like wait for chaos to come, etc. Anyways, peasants form the backbone of your army and economy, so be wary of using up your surplus by enlisting too many. Conquering new regions increases your surplus, enabling you to field more peasants in your armies without suffering a penalty to your farming economy buildings. Your current peasant economy surplus can be seen on the campaign interface at the top of the screen. So, this affects peasant units that you can have in your armies. So basically, I guess I can only have 10 peasant units from the looks of this at the beginning. As you conquer more, you can conquer more, you get more unlocked. And peasants are either in your army or they're tending to the fields. And so that can affect your economy and your wealth, etc. So you can either focus on farming buildings or, I guess, sort of more factory, sort of production type buildings. I wonder if we can... Oh, man, what a big building browser. So we've got our fields and stuff constructed already. Yeah, no. So this effect is affected by peasant economy, whereas, for example, the weaving house is not. So that's good to keep in mind. While the weaving house might give you less money, you're not restricted by the peasant economy. I find it hilarious. That pause there was because I just realized that fields give you peasant mob, makes sense, and peasant bowmen. They're that bad. You'd expect like a hunting lodge or something to give you peasant bowmen. The field, the farm, and then the landed estate. Cool. Let's see, we've got quite a bit of a tree here. I'm not going to dig too deep into it because spend forever doing that. The Abbey of the Grail Companions. Chivalry plus 50. Awesome. Big loss reduction for all cavalry units across all forces. Charge bonus, melee defense. Wow. Okay, sweet deal. The Brothel cost chivalry. Okay, I thought it gave you chivalry. Okay, let's do this in a more organized fashion. Of course, we upgrade. Courant is Courant, so it's probably a little different. But you upgrade your building there, and we've got training fields, barracks for men-at-arms and spearmen-at-arms. And those are men-at-arms with swords, of course. Then we've got the rally field, which is the next level up. Unlocks recruitment of men-at-arms with shields and spearmen-at-arms with shields, but you need the smithy. Where is the smithy? Where's the smithy? Okay, so smithy plus rally field, and you can get your shields. Cool. This gives us men-at-arms with polearms, and then finally we've got the foot squires that also need the smithy. Nice. We've got the stables, of course, mounted yeoman archers, the livery, can never pronounce that right, knights errant, and the paladin, and then we go higher. Right, of course. Royal stables, questing knights, knights of the realm, and Grail guardians. Unlocks recruitment versus allows recruitment. Oh, right, of course. Pegasus, Airy, all right, and then finally the Royal Menagerie. Now I'm thinking about the Prince Ali song from Aladdin. Again, you can tell I'm tired. Carpenter's Workshop. Great. Field Trebuchet allows the recruitment of peasant bowmen, fire arrows, and peasant bowmen. Okay, with poison. So these guys aren't just farmers, they're also carpenters. Cool. Now we've got the Siege Workshop, which gives us direct access to the Blessed Field Trebuchet. We don't need anything else with it. Grail Shrine gives us, let's see, Praying, plus 10% chance of removing negative character traits of any lord garrisoned within the settlement each turn. This is a really cool mechanic that I'm going to talk about in just a second. That's awesome. Let me just put that out there. That's awesome. Corruption Reduction, okay, and Grail Knights for Garrison, cool. We've got the Grail Chapel, which allows us to get Battle Pilgrims, nice. The Grail Reliquae, and then the Damsels of the various magical lores. Then finally we've got the Cathedral of the Lady. Chivalry plus 20, cool. Praying, reduction in corruption, recruitment of heroes, yada yada, okay. And we do also get Grail Guardians as long as you also have the Royal Stables, which are here. So those are connected. Now let's see, the Smithy and then the Armory gives us more recruitment and unlocks a lot of high-tier unit recruitment. Okay. Grand Tournament Grounds. I believe that is an achievement. I don't know if it's locked to the Empire only, but Chivalry plus 20. Income of 1,000, that's huge. And Control plus 10, that's Public Order. And plus 2 for Cavalry unit recruits for all characters. So that's solid. But it'll take some time to get there. Guardhouse, extra garrison. City Watch, extra garrison. Fields, farm, landed estate. Let's see, we've got the Windmill that gives us income from farm bonus and growth bonus to the adjacent provinces. Huh. That's a nice way to work it. Okay, more income from farms. Weaving House, Clothier, and the Tailors. Requires a storehouse. Interesting. Cellar gives more ammo when under siege. That's an interesting... it's not really a mechanic, but that's an interesting building. So more ammo when you're under siege because you have a cellar to store your arrows. I like that. Let's see. Siege holdout time plus 1. Income from industry plus 5. And need a weaving house to build it. Interesting connection to make. Storehouse. I mean, it's pretty big, I guess. Not enormous, but yeah, quite large. Priceless. Plus 50% ammo when under siege. That's huge. And plus 2 to siege holdout time. Okay. Was that the first funny one that I missed? Okay. Tap room. Hostelry. Okay. Oh, okay. It's a tavern. Helps with public order. That makes sense. Helps with public order. Coaching in helps with public order. And the brothel makes you money and helps with public order. That's hilarious. What mysteries lies behind the curtain? What beauty behind the final breath of cloth? Should write that one down. Could use that. Pox shelter. For healing, growth and replenishment rate, okay, just your medic, I guess. Sanctuary, again, more growth, more replenishment. Apothecary, growth, replenishment. Clay pit, again, that's just resource-based. And then we've got our Abbey of the Grail Companions that we already looked at. Untainted, enables attrition for undead armies, okay. Cool. So that's, I think, a good building browser to look at. Now, if we look at Langui, pretty similar. Yeah, no legendary thing, no tournament grounds, obviously, and then obviously the cutoff at level 3. That's all standard. Let us take a look at... Right. So let's take a look at the traits real quickly. I obviously don't have any because I just started this campaign. Come on, you guys. But traits now, you get traits based on your behaviors. Now, I don't know if that now applies across factions, like across characters, across all factions. But it certainly works with Bretonnia, and so some of you may have noticed you get things like a procrastinator if you sit around in one settlement for too long, or you get I don't know what else do you get? I'm forgetting, but you get like basically it's sort of like medieval Total War and Shogun Total War, like those earlier Total War games where there was a reason for all the traits that you got, and it's actually listed. So the puissant virtue doesn't actually say it, but for the other ones, it actually tells you exactly why you gained a trait. And if you go to a place which has one of the a Grail shrine, so you can pray, that's where you can reduce or remove one of these negative traits. So it's sort of like It's like a confession. Think of it like a confessional. So yeah, that was it's cool. I like that. I miss that from old Total War games. The traits and I forget what they were all called now, but basically the various retinue and traits you got based on your behaviors, as opposed to what feels like a pretty random selection. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, so that's that. We've done this whole section. We've talked about the Green Knight. Let's take a look at tech. So with tech, things are they're split into a few different kind of approaches. Now, the chivalric code gives chivalry, leadership. Okay, what's important is what it does up here. So once you pop this open, I believe all of these unlock. Yeah, so this unlocks a lot of these. Death's Grip Decree, Ruinous Powers Decree, Safer Woods Decree, and Forest's Edge Decree. These all are basically decrees given forth by the king that you have to research. I guess you're writing them and announcing them. And when you unlock them, they give you, for example, Forest's Edge, +2 chivalry for every victory against Wood Elves. Reduces your diplomatic relations with them permanently, but it helps you in battle against them, missile resistance against them, leadership against them, or when fighting them. Safer Woods Decree is about Beastmen, so +2 chivalry when you fight them, -100 to diplomatic relations with them, leadership bonus with them, and more missile damage when you're fighting with them. Ruinous Powers Decree, you suffer less attrition from chaos corruption when you're in chaos territory or chaos influence territory. More chivalry from fighting chaos, diplomatic relations, bonus versus large when you're fighting chaos, and a larger Lord Aura size when you're fighting chaos. And these all apply for all forces, obviously. Now, Death's Grip is anti-undead. So again, chivalry bonus, attrition, leadership. I think that's a really interesting kind of mechanic. So you kind of pick who you're going to war with at which order, and you can use these to benefit you. And of course, they apply to all forces because it's a decree from the king himself. So it's a really nice kind of way of, interpreting that. So I thought this was really interesting, really cool. But of course, you have to get the chivalric code first, because if you don't have chivalry, if you have no honor, then why would you follow the king's decrees? So makes sense. Now, we've got the heraldry of Artois, Paravent, Bordelot, Lyonesse, Baston, Carcassonne, and Bretonnia, the unification of Bretonnia. These are all to enable confederation options with each of these individual, not provinces, dukes, I guess? People. Nations. Whatever the right word is. So that it basically enables it to all of these guys. It also adds to your chivalry, and it increases your diplomatic relations. So up here we have our war-based chivalric sort of codes and decrees. Over here we have sort of an appreciation for our neighbors, for the others who hate us because they ain't us. And then the unification of Bretonnia is, it goes beyond our own realms. So, again, I think that's really cool. Then we've got the Green Tide Decree. This goes along, again, these decrees as well. I wish, from a layout perspective, it could have been a bit nicer. Anyways, the Green Tide Decree against greenskins, double experience when fighting greenskins, immunity to the wasteland, or the attrition when you're in the wastelands. Complete immunity, mind you. Grey Mountain Watch, again, more chivalry, more weapon strength, and more leadership. Winter Woes Decree, more chivalry, diplomatic relationships, obviously more experience, and immunity to snow attrition if you go way up north. And then the North Guard, chivalry, diplomatic relations, melee attack, and melee defense buffs. So I think that's really cool. Over on this side, we've got economic investment, which helps growth and income from settlements. We've got subsidized tools, construction cost reduction, recruitment cost reduction for peasant mobs, plan +10 melee attack for peasant mob as well. Almshouse, growth, leadership, improved trade vessel, more money from trade. We've got charity, which is, again, chivalrous, of course, and control +2, so it's your public order, of course. Town census, +2 unit experience for peasant mob unit recruits, that's funny. And local recruitment capacity, +1 for all provinces, that's maybe more important. Harbor Master bribes. Interesting. So that increases your income, obviously, because you're bribing, but that really hurts your chivalry by 50. Interesting. It's also very expensive. I wonder how much of a difference that makes. I guess your the +5 extra from ports is a pretty big deal. Anyways, Improved our agricultural tools, almost at architectural there. Plus 2% from farms across all regions. Upkeep production, more money from farms, more better construction costs, more money from farms, and extra peasant units. So it's all farming stuff. So we've got our trade economy, I guess, our agrarian economy, and over here we've got our industrial economy. Improved construction cost reduction, construction time reduction, that's huge. Bigger bobbins, plus 10% income from industry. Bigger bobbins or better bobbins, it is known. Say that 5 times real fast. Bigger bobbins or better bobbins. Weaving apprenticeships. Income from industry plus 5% and research rate plus 5%, because, weaving and technology are very intertwined. Improved loom technology, more income, more recruitment. And seamstresses, more cheaper recruitment and more income from industry. So I find that very interesting. This is my favorite part. This left side is my favorite part of the tech tree. This branch of it. I just think this decree thing is really really interesting. It'll be really cool to see in action and kind of like planning where you want to assault first and second and whatnot. So that's neat. Now let's first look at Florence Dubois' character details here. Nope, I meant her skill tree. And let's see, we've got Warhorse, Unicorn, Lady's Mantle, Missile Resistance 10%, Aura of the Lady. Ward Save, 12% Magic Resistance. Harmonic Convergence, of course, Roiling Skies. It's a map-wide. Oh, interesting. So it targets enemy flying units, giving them -8 melee defense and -6 missile parry if they have shields. Interesting. This doesn't apply to Roiling Skies, but I'm curious now if the negative to missile parry affects flying units, if there's ever a case where you can apply that to a flying unit. Or, sorry, to Slayers, because of their twirling axes. Does that count as a shield? Air quotes. Anyways, that's interesting. I didn't notice that from when we were looking at units for custom battles. Wind Blast, Curse of the Midnight Wind, Uranan's Thunderbolt, Evasion. These are all pretty standard. Earthing, Miscast Chance, Power Drain, Power Reserve Increase, Comet of Cassandora, Chain Lightning, and Arcane Conduit. Everything down here seems pretty average. Prime Mover, Spoiler, Adept, Advisor, Storm of Magic. Right, Zap. Magic Detection, Counselor Aid. Okay, that's all pretty standard. Okay. Louen Leoncoeur. Let us look at your skills, buddy. So, we've got the Sword of Couron, of course, it's the quest. We've got the Royal Pegasus. And we've got Beaquis? Why? I'm having so much trouble reading that. Beaquis. Beaqui? Whatever. Crown of Britonia. Leadership plus 5 for the Lord's Army. Cool. Available at rank 5. Not bad. The Ladies' Champion. We're aware of what that is. The Army of the King, helping your replenishment rate for all knight units at rank 10. Beloved Son of Britonia. We're all aware of what that does. Lady's Mantle. Lion's Shield, giving you 50% cooldown to Lion's Shield. Which, again, that's the missile and magic resistance. Now, as we saw from the campaign start section, Leoncoeur starts with all 3 of these vows, these knightly vows. This reduces the upkeep for specific units for the Lord's Army. So, Knights Errant, Knights of the Realm, Pegasus Knights. Questing Vow, Questing Knights. Grail Vow, Grail Knights, Grail Guardians, Royal Pegasus Knights, and Royal Hippogriff Knights. That is important because without these vows, in the Lord, in whose army you have these units, it's going to be extremely expensive. Their upkeep costs will shoot through the roof. So, again, another interesting mechanic that your leader needs to be held in high enough esteem to have these people in his or her army. I just love how they translate that thought into a mechanic here. I think that's awesome. All right, Blade Master, Devastating Charge, Full Plate Armor, plus 3. And obviously 3 levels. Scarred Veteran, Hard to Hit, Foe Seeker, Woundmaker, Deadly Blade, Indomitable, Blade Shield, and Deadly Onslaught. Inspiring Presence, the Peasant's Duty, plus 3 ammo, and that goes up 7 and then 12. Lowborn Militia, plus 3 for melee infantry units, and that goes up 7 and 12. Basic Training, Vigor Loss Reduction, again, I think mathematically that's still useless. We'll see based on patch notes and stuff. Chivalric Code, Charge bonus plus 3 for cavalry, plus 6 and plus 10, and it also increases melee attack at the higher level, so that's cool. Rally, which is nice, plus 16 leadership. Virtue of Empathy. Aura size plus 10%, 20%, 40%. That'll be extremely valuable when you're dealing with, well, peasants in your army and you're trying to keep them fighting. Lion-Hearted. I was reading the description. Their cooldown, negative 15% to rally and stand your ground. That's pretty good. That goes up 30 and then 50. Huge. Glorfiniel's Progeny. Weapon strength for all cavalry units in the army. Engines of war. Missile damage from artillery, 3, 7, and 12. And then also adding to ammunition. Cool, if artillery lasts, long in a battle, I guess. Stand your ground. Of course, we know what that is. And down here we've got Route Marcher, Justicar for control, bonded, service, recruitment costs. Oh, that makes sense. 10th share. You mean your tithe? That's weird. How is your 10th share increasing based on your level? That if it's a 10th. Devoted of the Goddess. Reduction in corruption. Okay. Irrepressible spirit. Lightning Strike, we're all familiar with that. Steward of the Realm, growth at the local province. That is huge, plus 36. That's massive. The Royal Insignia, recruitment duration for Royal Pegasus Knights, Royal Hippogriff Knights. There's only one level to that. Premonition. Ambush defense chance. This being must be touched by Tzeentch, seeing things before they happen. I'm tapping my nose with my finger. All right, and Bailiff, income from all buildings, plus 15%. So that is Louen Leoncoeur. And of course, he starts in Couronne, the capital of Bretonia. That is option number 1 for my campaign. I could, spread out, wreck the empire and whatnot. What are our objectives, actually? Attain 1,000 chivalry, be chivalrous. I love that as an ultimate campaign victory. Be chivalrous. And then complete the final errantry war battle. Cool, okay. So it kind of forces you... I like that. I feel like that'll be more interesting than the Wood Elves campaign was, because that Amber stuff ended up being too easy through diplomacy. So I feel like this will be more interesting, possibly. And of course we are over here, so it'll be interesting to see what we fight. And it looks like we're not very friendly with any of our Bretonian buddies in the beginning. Okay, so that is Bretonia proper and Leoncoeur. Let's check out some of the others. We're going to start off looking at maybe Bordelot. All right, Bordelot. We've already talked about this. Let's move along. Alberic de Bordelot, protector of their realm, as he calls himself. We've looked at this stuff already, just keeping it on screen if you guys want to take another peek before we dive into it. But he is the Duke of Bordelot, so it's a different starting position. And let's see if the voiceover is different. Oh, I really hope it is. Come on. I'm going to go ahead and say it isn't different. Oh, wait. I just realized I'm just watching this again. I'm going to skip this time for the interest of the video. Just kind of got sucked in there. I love that. It's really well done. It's one of my favorites, right up there with the Wood Elves trailer video. The hype on that is massive. All right. Yeah, okay, I've already heard that one. Manan, so now I know it's Manan. Okay. So, Bordelot is the same. I think chivalry is increased in noble actions indeed. No greater benefit than the Green Knight. Peasants form the backbone. Yep. Actually, I realized I didn't mention what we didn't look at these in detail, so we'll look at them right now. If you're unchivalrous, below 0, leadership -10, control -5 for everything. Noble gives you +2 to leadership as a standard, so hopefully you'll always be there at the minimum. I mean, I rarely got into Amber Deficit as the Wood Elves, but I see it being pretty easy to be unchivalrous. Who knows what kind of events and options come up that affect that. That'd be pretty interesting to see. Anyways, Honorable gives you the opportunity to call upon the Green Knight, gives you +4 leadership to all your armies, and +1 for Bretonnian Knight recruits. When you're knightly, again, the Green Knight unlocks for a second time, leadership +6 for all armies, recruit rank for lords is +1, and then Bretonnian Knight recruits get +2 experience. Virtuous gives you, again, the Green Knight, leadership +8, reduction in corruption for all regions, which is excellent. Lord recruit rank +3, and unit experience +3 for Bretonnian Knight recruits. So again, they're at triple bronze to begin with. Then we've got Chivalrous. Green Knight, once more, leadership +10, reduction in corruption. Lord recruit rank +5, huge. +4 for Bretonnian Knight recruits, which is amazing. That's silver 1. And then unit experience gain per turn is +100 for all forces. That's massive. But really, that'll only come into effect at the end game, and by then you might already have triple gold armies all the way through. So we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty sweet. So this is Bordelot. Obviously, we all know where they are. Another potential starting position, and we have Alberic. Or actually, let's take a look and make sure the building browser is the same, looking like it. Oh, Bordelot winemakers. Okay, vineyards, wine resource, growth and control, and money, obviously, from trade. Everything else looks like it's the same. Yep, there's the brothel. Wait. Okay, it costs. For some reason, I remembered it being red the other time. Okay, so that's that. Let's take a look at our tech tree. Tech tree is the same. It's a little weird that Alberic gets to call decrees. He's not a king, but that's okay. We'll forgive that. And let's look at Tristan Lebeau. How has he not got handsome as a trait? Let's take a look at his skill. Alright, Barded Warhorse, Pegasus, and the Lady's Mantle. Blade Master, Devastating Charge, Full Plate Armor, Hard to Hit, Deadly Blade, Foe Seeker, Wound Maker, Scarred Veteran, Indomitable, Blade Shield, Deadly Onslaught. All pretty standard. Looks like it's the same down here. We've got Marshal, Patrol, Ambusher, Authoritarian, Defender, Inspirational, Champion, Assassination. I don't think I recognize that. Exemplar, helping increase unit rank from recruitments in the local area. Barracks Raider, Drill Master, again, training can be extremely helpful. Chivalrous, reducing corruption, and then Hardy, wound recovery time. Okay, and where is... So I take it they're a seafaring nation, and I take it Manan is Poseidon, and the trident is his symbol. All the things I have learned. And let's take a look at the skills here. So the right, we knew this already. So the trident of Manan, I already forgot it. Its quest unlocks the ability of Manan, which is the wind spell, which can maybe help trigger some terror bombs and stuff. At least take a flank out with magic. Barded Warhorse, Royal Pegasus, Hippogriff, Lance of Bretonnia, gives us charge bonus +3, 6, and then 9. Lady's Mantle, and the Blessings of the Lady, which is the Blessings of the Lady, +20% physical resistance for oneself. Now, Alberic de Bordelot only starts with the Knight's Vow. He needs to get the Questing Vow and the Grail Vow. He is not good enough for these guys to join with their reduced upkeep costs. So you do need to, get those available at rank 5 and at rank 10. So it is quite restricting from the beginning. Now, in terms of how you tech up and stuff, you can time that carefully to make sure it all matches up nicely, but that's something to keep in mind. I think it's cool. Blade Master, Devastating Charge, Full Plate Armor, Scarred Veteran, Hard to Hit, Foe Seeker, Wound Maker, Deadly Blade, Indomitable, Blade Shield, and Deadly Onslaught. Stuff we've seen before. Looks like the same down here. Inspiring Presence. Instead of peasant stuff with archers and arrows and whatnot, we've got Aspiring Knights. +5 leadership for Foot Squire units. plus 12% weapon strength and plus 8 melee attack for foot square units as well. Okay. Champions of Bordello, giving plus 5 for all Knights of the Realm units. Okay. Basic training, vigor loss reduction. Again, we've talked about that. Chivalric code, charge bonus for cavalry units 3, 6, and 10, also giving melee attack. Rally, virtue of empathy, lion-hearted Glorfinial progeny, engines of war, and protectors of the realm. Bonus versus large, plus 15 for Knights of the Realm units. That's huge. Alright, Route Marcher, Justicar, Bonded Service, Yield of the Sea, as opposed to the Tithe. So, plus 50% from ports. That's huge. Plus 100%, plus 150. He's a moneymaker. Devoted of the Goddess, Servants of Manan, reduction in vampiric corruption and chaos corruption, plus 5 for Paladin and Hero recruitment rank, that's massive, and hero capacity for Paladins is plus 1. Lightning Strike, Steward of the Realm, growth 8, 20, and 36. Lordly Conqueror, reduces attrition when under siege. Cool. Help you last a little bit longer, I suppose. Premonition, ambush defense chance, 6, 16, and 30. Oh, and chance of intercepting an army using the underway, beast path, or world routes gets increased, and then Bailiff. So, pretty similar, a couple of differences, but it's those knightly vows and those levels of vows that I find most interesting. And with all that done, let's just take a look at the objectives real quick. Chivalry, Final War, same thing. And let's take a look now at Carcassonne, I believe, and the Enchantress. Okay, so we've seen this before as well, but again, if you want to take a quick look at it, we're going to look at Carcassonne, and we're going to see what their, specifically what the Fey Enchantress's, I guess, skills, etc., all are. So nicely done. Alright, let's go. Let's see. Oh, why thank you. The Fey Enchantress, more like the Bay Enchantress. Okay, we've seen this before as well. Again... So she starts with the Mist of the Lady. That's an interesting ability. Very curious, obviously, to see all this stuff in action, and I'm guessing it's the same audio-visual. Yeah. I'm gonna skip it. I kind of wish there were different ones, but that's crazy to even ask for. Let's go. Foes of all races and even her own loyal Bretonnians live in fear of the Bay Enchantress. A sorceress of great repute, she uses her magical powers to channel the lady, identifying threats to the kingdom and marshalling its forces to face them. In battle, she rides Silveron, her loyal unicorn, into the fray, using her magic to defend and protect the knights whilst also striking down enemies with withering stare from her eyes. That's how I look when I dance. Oh, right. Yep, everything is the same overall, mechanically speaking, except it looks like we start with a better peasant economy. Everything looks to be the absolute same. Okay. It's interesting that each sub-faction of Bretonnia has specific enemies, and it's nice to learn a bit more, like Marienburg is greedy, apparently Tilea is how I've always pronounced it. They're greedy as hell too. But it looks like her problem seemed to be the Wood Elves, the Beastmen, and then just greedy people to the south as opposed to greedy people to the north. Whatever. Objectives, real quick, let's double check. Yep, it's all the same. And let's Who calls me hence? Let's start with a look at the damsel's skills. Warhorse, Unicorn, Lady's Mantle, Aura of the Lady, and this is obviously beasts. So we've got all the magic there: Evasion, Earthling, Power Drain, Curse of Anrahir, Transformation of Kadan, Arcane Conduit, all pretty standard. Prime Mover, Spoiler, Adept, Advisor, Storm of Magic, Zazap, Magic Detection, Counselor, Aid, Advocate, and Hardy. Nothing special there. And the Fae Enchantress. Yeah, these unit cards are gorgeous. Alright. Supreme Aura of the Lady. Chivalry plus 10. Causes fear. Look at her skills. All right. Chalice of Potions. That is the quest, of course. Gives us the Chalice of Potions ability, which is a bombardment spell, which we should test out. Probably test out at some point. Silveron, the Unicorn. Lore Master, Lore of Life, giving us negative 25% cooldown to Lore of Life spells. Power Familiar, Winds of Magic, Power Reserve plus 15, and Girdle of Gold, ward save of 15%. Knight's Vow, Questing Vow, Grail Vow, none are available to her to start with. At rank 2, you can get the Knight's Vow, so that's pretty